Hello, one and all. Welcome back to another episode of Turnbuckle Talk with myself, JJ Dub, and the man across the room from me, none other than Sam Tastic 29. And
What is
what a
up, dude?
week of professional wrestling we have had. We've gone from the low to the high really quickly. So, how are you? We'll start with that. How are you, my man?
I'm good, my man. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Got a sexy cold, but yeah, apart from that,
Yeah, I
wrestling
was going
was
to
a
say you
bomb
are
this
you
week.
are sounding very luscious tonight, Treacle. Um, yeah, like you say though, it has gone from low, slow pace to fast and high. It's 0 to 100 in a second, right?
Oh,
Is what
big
we've
time.
seen.
Massively, like, yeah, unreal PLE. I think I've watched it back
You
a few
reckon?
times. I think it was I've got yeah, I've been more impressed with it after watching it back, to be honest with
Out
you.
of five, I mean, I've only watched it the once, watching it live. I haven't watched it back, admittedly, but out of five, what do you give it?
I say
Five being the
three and a
best.
half. Three and a half.
Yeah, me too. I gave it a 3.5 as well. I gave it a 3.5. I don't think it delivered as much as we anticipated it to. It delivered in some areas that, not that I didn't expect, it actually didn't deliver in the areas that I expected, or some of the areas that I expected. But yeah, I think a 3.5 is a fair score, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the thing that saved it the most though was the main event. No doubt about it.
Yeah, yeah.
The way it
Mm.
all transpired and
I mean, that could have been nasty for Damien. That obviously got caught up in that top rope, the top and the middle ropes, taking that tumble, and then just hanging there. I mean, you could see the ref was trying to get him out. You could see that the ropes were so taut. You could see he was struggling. Drew was a legend because Drew was like, "I'm just going to carry on beating him because I can't beat him while he's like this. I can't become
it was
champion
like
like this." He had
he
to help
tried
him out
to
in the end, right?
yeah, it was literally stay in character, but at the same time
Yeah,
be a professional. And I've got to help my mate out. Like
yeah.
you can't, yeah, because
Got to help him out. Yeah.
that could have been like not career ending, but that could have been like
Well,
year
we
up to a
don't know.
year
That's
out
the problem. It
because of
could have. Yeah,
ligaments or anything. Like
yeah, exactly. He could have pulled muscle. He could have done ligament damage. He could have. I mean, he could have broken it potentially. You know, I mean, you could see he was hurting. He was definitely struggling throughout the match. When he got back on his feet, you could see that
yeah,
those kicks to Drew were genuinely causing him issues. So much respect to Damien for pushing through after taking that, that fall
well
or
he could have
tumble, let's
like
say.
they could have ended it then and there, and we
Yeah,
wouldn't have had this
yeah, well,
whole CM
exactly.
Punk turn up and cost Drew again, and
I did not expect that. I'm not going to lie. I did not
not in that
expect that.
manner.
I mean, not in that manner at all. I kind of expected Punk to show his face and show his colours and go, yeah, I'm here, and distract him, but not coming out as a replacement ref.
It
That
was just
I did not see coming from a mile
It
away.
was the.
That
Do you know what the
blindsided me.
best bit though? It was the pose when he done the two because it was the one of it, like the geezer standing over the grave,
Mm,
and
yeah,
obviously McIntyre had that shirt, didn't he, of him doing that over the
he did.
grave, and
And
Punk
now
sat
all
there.
over the internet, they've taken that image and swapped it round. So Punk is laid out on the grave. Sorry, McIntyre is laid out on the headstone, and Punk is posed over top of the McIntyre.
It's just yeah
I just
that,
didn't
and
expect it,
then
but I think that was. I agree. I think that was the saving grace. I think if the main event hadn't been that good, it quite easily would have been a 2.5 star card or PLE overall. I mean, the
I
card on
think
paper was good.
it, it's definitely propelled Damian Priest to another level.
Yeah,
I'll give you
I
that.
think so.
Like I think the way that, like you say, the way he recovered himself to
Yeah,
push through with the injury, and obviously beating McIntyre in his hometown or home country.
I can't believe I still can't get over that WWE did that to him. I mean, obviously, I said this to Boss and I've said this to other people I've spoken about. I don't like what they've done to McIntyre, but I love the feud with Punk. I think that overtakes it. I think this feud between Punk and McIntyre is going to be so good
Oh,
that
it's
you're going to
mad.
forget this
But
at some
don't you
point.
think though that this whole Drew character at the moment has got Bret Hart vibes to it.
He
For
kind of
constantly
does. He's
getting
got that,
screwed over
yeah,
in certain
yeah.
matches.
Well, Wade Barrett said it, didn't he? Wade Barrett said it, the Glasgow screw job.
Yeah, Wade Barrett was like so pro Drew, weren't he? He was like, they've got to
Yeah.
do something about this. This is
Well,
ridiculous.
you
This,
got to imagine they're good friends as well. They came up together. They're both from the UK. They've crossed paths for a long time. And it was Wade that evidently managed to calm Drew down when the cameras came off because Drew was going mad. He put his hands on the ref. He put his hands on Corey Graves. He was, going to trash the arena. And it was ultimately Wade Barrett that got in his face and said, "Look, dude, you need to chill the fuck out," basically.
that was just, he literally lost his shit after.
But you
And,
would. Can you blame him? That's the question. I mean, you
and
can't
then
blame the man, can you?
and then you've got Punk after as well, like riding it up more, wearing a Celtic tracksuit
I
in
know,
the interview.
bringing donuts in the press conference and wearing a
Oh,
Celtic tracksuit. But not only that, after he did what he did, he was there with the crowd, and the crowd are chanting CM Punk in Drew's hometown,
yeah.
while CM Punk is being mollycoddled by the fans as he's walking back down the aisle after screwing over McIntyre. I mean,
There
you don't get.
was it when Samantha Irvine obviously went to say thank you to the crowd and all we heard was jeers, jeers. You
Oh,
couldn't hear her. It was
it was just.
crazy.
It was booze. They were not happy. They were not happy at all. And you
But
can see it in her
yeah,
face. She was thinking, "What the hell do I do?" Bless her heart, because it's not
well,
her fault, and she's amazing.
you saw it when she obviously had to
Yeah,
announce Damien Priest as retaining the title, and she was like, "Oh no," because
no,
obviously herself, like we said before, she doesn't like to know the
she
results
doesn't like to know.
whatsoever.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
her seeing that to them thinking, "Oh, now I've got to somehow
I know,
excitedly tell them that
but I think,
Priest is retained, but it's not your boy Punk.
yeah,
It's not your
I think
boy
if anyone can
McIntyre."
be forgiven, ring announcer wise, if anyone can be forgiven to have to do that job, it's Samantha. She's just so good at what she does, and everybody loves her because her reactions are genuine. Her intros are, for the most part, unique to everybody. She's got her own way of saying everybody's name, and she just interacts with everybody so well. And she's fucking drop dead gorgeous. Let's just face it, she is indeed. But yeah, I feel for her for having to put through that. But I think, yeah, I think a solid 3.5 star is. I mean, the 3.5 stars is a hard push in my mind. That's the top end of what you're going to get for that. The performances that we saw. I mean, if you go back to the oh, there she goes. If you go back to the women's tag team match, I mean, that was just diabolical. It was mistake after mistake, and I get it. It's live. You're entertainers. It's going to happen. There's spots that you cannot control. And I give my respect for Jade, because Jade had that one big spot where she did slip, and she got straight back up. She didn't let it affect her mentality. She got up, but then it just carried on happening and happening. And I was just like, this is just
Yes, I
dire.
think that there just was a bit. I don't blame her for it because obviously, like I say, it's
No,
live. They've got to just keep going on, but there's just
yeah,
parts of it
absolutely.
from that she might need to just sort of take a step back to the performance center again and just get more
I don't.
confidence in
Yeah,
these types of spots that she's been put into.
I think a woman of her size to go for a springboard on a top rope is not seen that often anyway. So
No,
for you
and the
to
pace that
go
she
and pull it
was
off,
went to try and do it at though, that's the
yeah.
difference.
But did you see? So obviously they said about the top rope being loose, but then Shayna Baszler trolled everybody because somebody said, "Oh, the top rope was loose," because Jade failed her springboard. But Shayna Baszler went, "No, it's a skill problem because Zoe Stark hit it 3 for 3 in the same match on the same rope," and I was just like, "Oh shit." Um,
Awkward. But you saw
yeah,
because obviously Jade tapped, didn't she? But
that was a receipt, I
apparently,
think, because Jade
yeah,
hit
I
her
was
quite
about to say
hard,
it
and I
was,
think
but
Shayna was just putting it on a little bit tight just to let her know this is your receipt.
I
And the
think she
referee didn't see the tap, but
should though.
everybody else around the world watching saw her tap not once but twice.
They yeah, because there's obviously certain ways to say that, yeah, I've got your receipt, we're done, but you
Yeah,
don't tap when the cameras are on you.
no,
That's
no.
that's a
But
no-no, and
Shayna
that's
must have put it on pretty tight because if she tapped,
well,
I mean, if you watch it back, you see how quickly she tapped.
yeah.
She put that rear naked choke on nice and tight.
Well, I mean, if you've got to, like, say, give it, you've got to take it back
Yeah, if you
in
give
one
it,
way or
you've got to
another.
expect to take it, and that's it's just. I mean, look at Braun Strowman with Brock Lesnar, classic. Need Brock in the head, pretty hard. And Braun Strowman has said himself, yeah, Brock hit me and rocked me. He said, I've never been rocked like that. He said, he said it himself. I'm surprised I wasn't
Yeah,
knocked out.
it's part and parcel of professional wrestling. Like, it's going to
Yeah,
happen, so you've got to
it's going to happen.
accept your receipt.
Even if you don't intend to hit somebody that hard, it's going to happen. And if you
Mm.
do, even by a mistake, you've got to expect it back because it is a standard. It's an unwritten rule in the industry that you are going to get a receipt if you dish it out too hard.
Yeah, but like, I'm surprised at the outcome though. Like the winners, obviously Alba Fair and Ida Dawn.
I mean, it makes no sense to me. I get it from the standpoint that yeah, they're Glaswegians or they're Scottish. That they're in Glasgow. Yeah, we've got to hand over at least one of the championships.
Probably the
Um,
safest championship, to be fair.
Yeah, I think so. Because let's face it, Piper Niven hasn't been in the main event picture long enough with WWE. Don't get me wrong. I had this conversation with Sponge. Sponge is very pessimistic at the moment. I don't know what's happening to him, but Sponge is very pessimistic about everything. And I said to him, I said, dude, Piper is great. Don't get me wrong. She's a good talent, but the way that she is within WWE, she hasn't been in that main event spot. She hasn't shown that she's in that main event spot. And this is just a novelty match. It's no different to when they made Jinder Mahal champion because they were going after the TV rights in India. So they thought, okay, well, we'll give the Indian the championship. And that's as much as that may sound horrible. That's the matter of the fact is that's why it was done. Jinder Mahal otherwise would not have been WWE champion.
No, I think as well though that was a low point, that match, to be honest with you. Like from what we
It's
saw live, it just seemed like a friendly, like
yeah,
pre-match warm up or something, because it
exactly.
just no one was interested in it.
No, I mean even the crowd did. The
Shamefully
crowd
as well.
popped. The crowd popped more for Bailey, but there was no pop for Bailey at all. So that shows you how. But I was disappointed with the crowd. I'm not going to lie. You know, and I think France have just put it to such a level that are they going to be outdone anywhere in the world? Probably not, to be honest.
No, I mean,
But Glaswegians and the Scottish in general are known for being rowdy and loud, and I think just knowing that as a Brit, and I'm sure you're in the same mindset, you don't need to hear them go, "Oh, you just wait to see us," because we know their reputation. We're expecting it regardless. But I think they were louder during, like, you look for Cody and AJ, for example, they were louder during AJ and Cody promo on Friday on SmackDown than they were
yeah,
on a Saturday.
yeah, it was yeah, I don't know, like obviously Cody got a massive roar, he got a big pop
Yeah.
in Scotland, whereas obviously AJ, they hated him in that
I mean,
sense.
well, this is the
He was the
thing, and
villain out
I
there.
think, and I understand that you hate him as the villain, as the heel, but I don't think anybody. I mean, again, Sponge, going back to Sponge. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Sponge. Um, he said AJ's boring. I'd completely disagree.
No,
Yeah,
there's no
okay,
way he's
he
boring.
has got the same moveset and stuff, but he delivers every time. He's got that passion still. He's got that drive to make it the best match possible. He's got that tenacity. He has that look in his eye, whether he's a baby face or a heel, that he is going to deliver, and he does.
I think for their match though, it was a great match. Like, don't get me wrong, another
Yeah,
great setting, but
definitely
at the
wasn't
end,
as good as the first match.
have they now made AJ look like an absolute coward?
I mean, yeah, I didn't like the ending. I didn't like the ending. Like I said to you on the night, I want to go back to the days where you've got John Cena that is about to F you Batista off the car through the stage, and that makes you quit. I can understand that perspective, but then John Cena continues to do it anyway. I think it was too soon. I think they could have gone another 5 minutes, could have tormented AJ a little bit more, and put him in a spot where it looked a bit more terrifying. That's still him just holding those steel steps and coming. What, he was about 10 foot away from him, and AJ's going, "I quit." I think it has, to a degree, made him look a bit like, "Oh, I can't handle this," but we all know he
It
can.
it did though, didn't it? It's
Yeah,
like, and
yeah, I think so.
now you'll see him as that coward. Maybe it's part of a storyline that he's gonna that it will fall into, but at the same time, I don't think it's made Cody look
It's not
like
AJ.
a
Yeah, I don't
scary
think it's
man.
elevated. No, I don't think it's elevated Cody. I think if anything, it's diminished AJ. Like you say,
And
I think,
obviously
and
AJ
that's.
getting beat up by Mama Rhodes. That was funny. I love that. Why couldn't
How many
she? Why
times
did
did
she
she
not?
slap him? Like 4 or 5.
Why she not? Where was that Mama Rhodes when he needed her against
Oh,
the Rock
I
and
would have
Roman?
loved to have seen her slap the Rock like that. That would have been
Like,
so entertaining at
come on.
WrestleMania. Or yeah, that would have been great if she'd slapped the Rock around the face. I think that would have just added more to the tension that was already there, right?
Oh, massively, especially with Rock constantly calling her out at that
Yeah,
time, and obviously AJ's done the same, but
exactly.
AJ's got slapped by Mama Rhodes.
Yeah, yeah,
But
and
yeah,
again,
I enjoyed I enjoyed the match from how fast it was as well. When obviously they took it
yeah,
out to the outside of the ring really quickly into the crowd to get
yeah.
more of a reaction. Some geezer's lost his £9 pint because Cody decided to throw it at AJ's face.
AJ threw bottles of water at his head. I thought when he brought out that bag, I honestly thought, like I was saying to you, because obviously we had a
Yeah.
Discord call. I was hoping, I was so hoping it was going to be thumbtacks. I was quite disappointed actually that it
Well,
wasn't.
especially when Cole was like, "You know what we keep in those bags."
Exactly,
I was thinking, well, yeah,
exactly.
it's thumbtacks,
Yeah,
100%. And then all
it's
of a sudden
drawing pins, thumbtacks, yeah,
it
and
was
it's
fucking
handcuffs.
handcuffs. Like, it's like,
Yeah,
I didn't know you'd keep them in there.
no, I thought they would. Yeah, and the chain. I mean, the fact that Cody managed to get out shows how long the chain is.
Yeah,
He
yeah, it's
managed to
not.
slip that under his legs and get out, didn't he? Quite
Well, I
easily.
mean, they've always had long chains on the handcuffs because you remember, like, when they're handcuffs to the in the matches, weren't it? When reach
Yeah,
ring corner, but yeah, they can still basically shake each other's hand in the middle of the ring.
yeah,
So they've
yeah. That's
always
exactly right.
been an easy
But
out,
no,
haven't they?
I did think it was a good match. I thought it. I mean, if you go through the matches from start, I think it was a good opening match. I think it was a good match to start and open
The
with.
great spot in there as well with launching the chair at AJ's head for him to fall into
Yes,
the table. It was
when he's going for that
perfect.
phenomenal
He nailed
forearm.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it
they
was a great
nailed that
spot.
spot.
Yeah, it was definitely nailed very well.
It had pure
I
2K
think the two
vibes though.
together. Oh yeah, I mean that happened. I was going to say that yesterday in my stream yesterday. There was loads of that happening. Trash cans being thrown from half a mile away. Um, but yeah, I think it was a good match to open with.
Yeah,
WWE Championship, PLE, Scotland, two men that work very well together. I think, and they've shown that. Although this match wasn't as good as their first match together, I think they have.
still up there though.
Backlash was still up there. Backlash was better.
Yeah,
Um, but still a good opening match to go with. I thought the Sammy match with Gable was pretty good. I'm surprised they didn't turn Otis at Clash rather than waiting until Monday Night Raw. But I did love the angle where Sammy launched Gable out of that ankle lock and Gable inadvertently chop blocked Maxine
yeah, because it was sort
on
of
the outside of the ring.
a reverse of when Gable had done the same to Sammy and to
Yeah,
Otis, wasn't it? So it's like
absolutely.
Sammy's done it perfectly to obviously put it straight to someone who Otis will not let anyone touch,
Yeah,
will not let anyone get near.
I think Maxine Dupree is Otis's new Mandy Rose.
Yeah, he's yeah, he's definitely smitten. Bless him.
Yeah,
I
but
love
now of
Otis though.
course Chad Gable is dead, thanks to the Wyatt Six with the gunshot wound.
Oh,
Have you seen the memes? Did you see the one that Boss put in our chat
I've seen
with
loads of them. I've seen like
Simba sat on his shoulder saying, "Wake up, Chad, wake up."
I've seen the one, you like you get the I forgot what they're called. Like you get the booklet with obviously saying like in memory of, and it's got
Mm,
Chad Gable, and then it's got whenever he was born to this
Yeah, yeah.
year, and like got it written out. Like, it was.
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what they do because Gunter was in there as well. If you watch that reveal,
Wow, I don't think
Gunter
it
was
was.
out.
I've
No, it
looked
was.
back,
It was
and
Gunter.
people have noticed it. It's too small of a face to
Do
be
you reckon?
Gunter. There was
I'll
no,
have to watch it back.
because people were saying like Braun Strowman was in there, JD, but they're not. It's the
I
only
don't know.
noticeable one
Well,
that you can see
Strowman
is
doesn't make much sense to be in there. I mean, I'm
Gable.
surprised Strowman hasn't been added to the Wyatt Six, but I think the people they've got in the Wyatt Six are going to play the part very well. I mean, Nikki Cross coming out, crawling out in that mask to light the lantern, to then light the smoke and then go backstage. I
That
loved
was
that
fucking.
cinematography.
That
I
was
loved the
terrifying,
way that
weren't
they
it?
did it. Yeah, I loved the way they did it. I loved the way that they went to
What?
Eric, and Eric's got the
So
sledgehammer that says "Help."
she's Abby the Witch in this. That's who she
Yeah.
is.
So
But
you've got
yes,
obviously Uncle Howdy is Bo Dallas.
yeah, you
So
would
Taylor Rotunda, Bray's brother. Then you've got Eric Rowan is the sheep,
rambling
the
rabbit.
rabbit. Sorry, the rabbit, the rambling rabbit. Then you've got Dexter Loomis is the
There's
crow.
Mercy. He's Mercy the buzzard.
Yeah, the buzzard. Sorry, and then you have Joe
Joe
Gacy as
Gacy
the
is
pig.
Huckus. Huckus the
Yeah.
pig. But yeah, I
So
thought,
called the Wyatt Six, but it's spelled SICKS, but it says we are six.
yeah,
So
it's really weird how they've done
there's
that.
two schools of thought to this. I've been speaking to a few people, and two schools of thought. Either they're going to bring a sixth person in, which if they do, my mind, it should be Alexa Bliss because she obviously worked closely with Bray and the Fiend angle, or it's six because they are five plus Bray, who created it, is the six.
Which I think is
It's nice if they do it
brilliant
that way. I
because
think, but
it's the lantern will be Bray's memory
yeah,
as they call it.
and like I've said to you for weeks on the podcast and off the podcast, I got bored of it, but it took ages, but they did it so well. I mean, it's very seldom that I watch a video to do with wrestling and get goosebumps, but yeah, that gave me goosebumps. And then when Bo Dallas came out as Uncle Howdy to see the crowd, and he
Oh,
saw all the fireflies, you could
about the
see his face
emotions
light up. You
he
could
must
see
have
him
gone through in
smile.
that
You could
moment.
see. Well, the last time he did it obviously was with Bray. He came out with Bray together to see that. So now that it's the first time he's done it without his brother, without Bray there, to see that has got to be, yeah, he's got to just be filled, just overwhelmed with every kind of emotion you can imagine.
It's it's so interesting though, like
Yeah,
obviously how because the last few weeks though the QR codes have pointed to Chad Gable and Chad Gable
yeah,
only, and obviously to see him laying there or sitting there,
hmm
literally, well, obviously he's not.
with a hole in his head.
Yeah, but I don't obviously. It just we don't know what's next to come, but I
No,
mean, what a setup! What a way to
oh
reintroduce Uncle Howdy and the debut of
yeah.
obviously the full Wyatt Six.
And the way that it did everything backstage with the sparks and the lighting, and the whole trashed gorilla position, and the fog, bodies on the floor scattered with all the security, tables broken, the TVs flickering as if they'd been smashed out. Yeah, it was great. It was a great bit of cinematography. The five involved have done a fantastic job.
Yeah.
I think Nikki Cross actually works amazingly well. I mean, because obviously Nikki was going a bit crazy before she left anyway.
Mhm.
If you remember, she threw that 24/7 championship in the bin. She was the last 24/7 champion and she started to stir. And she's taken some time off and now she's coming back.
I
And the
mean,
craziness.
it fits
Yeah.
Dexter as well because the geezer never spoke until obviously this
He's said
whole
he's got,
wedding thing
yeah,
he was involved with on
very rarely spoke.
NXT.
Yeah,
But
he was. I mean, he was obviously involved in that love spell with Indy Hartwell, but he never spoke. She just jumped on him. And he carried her away.
obviously Gacy's always shown a bit of a mental
Yeah,
side to him. Rowan, we
and
know,
Eric,
doesn't
he
speak
was
either,
blood twin
so
brother. Yeah, but he was one of the original Wyatt family. He was
it's
original
always
with Luke Harper.
yeah, it's always been made for him, that role.
Yeah,
Obviously,
I
he's gone
think
from
so.
sheep to
To the rabbit.
rabbit, but still
But
just
they're
as
bringing the
freaking
Firefly
creepy.
Funhouse to life, aren't they? That's what they've done. Is they've brought that whole fire. And the great thing is I had a thought about this today. The great thing is moving on from this and the question of where are we going to go? Bray must have had so many ideas for this already written down, as
Yeah.
well as liaising with creative, because this was all Bray's idea to start with. He must have so many ideas written down that he's left behind that they can now carry on with and adapt with their own little touches and stuff. But it wouldn't surprise me if he had a whole storyline planned out for this to go on a long time, and that they can carry it on with his creative spark, even though he's no longer with us in person.
Big time. Well, I mean, I look back on obviously everything to do with little Easter eggs that were planted around,
Mm,
and there was dolls constantly
yeah,
in certain frames, and again, most of them were hovering around Gable. It was so weird. Now you look back at it,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
and we've just not really noticed it. You obviously get the few Easter eggs,
I
but some
suppose
people
it
were just
comes up,
like,
yeah, it comes up as a glimpse, and unless you stop and scan that QR code and look for something specifically, you're not going to see it
but
necessarily
it all makes
immediately. So
sense, doesn't
yeah,
it? Because if when they say like you've started to like not say thank you and you've
yeah,
changed, and when you look at Gable, he's gone from being friendly, constantly using manners in the way he does
yeah,
things, and then all of a sudden he's changed. He's
yeah,
stopped being
exactly.
nice. He's turned
Yeah.
on everyone. He's lost everything. Like that night, obviously the Monday night, Otis finally turned on him and threw him away and took Maxine and
Oh, I'm so
Tozawa
glad.
away.
I'm so glad.
So Gable was literally standing there like saying, "Oh, we're still a family. We're still a family." But it's like,
Yeah,
no, 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 no.
no.
That's it. It's game over for you. You're on your own.
I think Otis made that clear. I think Otis made it clear that I can hurt you. Here's my
Yeah.
power. Come near me, and I'll show you exactly how I will hurt you. I
At
think that
first,
was
though, I did,
Otis's warning.
yeah, give it a little build up, yeah. And he's like, "That's it. I've
Yeah,
lost it. I've snapped."
I think so.
I did think that Jay was a goner though when it all happened because obviously it was on his outro of his yeet, weren't it?
Well, this is it, and
So I was like, "No."
his interview with Jackie afterwards backstage it was just classic Jey Uso. No, I don't want none of that smoke. No, Bray's my homie. I got to shout out to Bray, but they can have the Fireflies. I don't want none of that.
Yeah, because it was. I
Yeah,
was just like, no, please, not Jay. Of all the
mm,
ones to the
yeah.
someone that's finally like
I know. I will
getting
correct
his
myself as
own.
well. By the way, it wasn't Jackie that you did the interview with. It was Kathy Kelly. So I'll correct
Same,
myself on
same,
there.
but different.
Apologies. Same, yeah. But yeah, and the fact that he said, "Oh, you better get out of here as well." I mean, have you seen the girl?
Yeah.
It was just classic Jey Uso. I love it. It was great. But I think Raw was incredible. I think that's the best
Oh,
Raw so far of the year. The fact that we had Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Six come back. The fact that we had a completely unknown, unannounced, unhinted return of Monday Night Rollins was
yeah, I know.
incredible.
That set me back. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
Well, I think we expected him to be out a lot longer, right? He said he wanted time off. He
Oh yeah,
obviously
there
had
was
issues with his back and stuff. Becky's then taken time off. Obviously, they're together. They're married.
and
Um,
you don't even need to like obviously rush
no,
him back if he's not ready. If you know what I mean, because it's not like
no.
the brand is struggling.
But clearly, he's
It's
ready. Clearly, he
like
wants to come back.
well, obviously during that segment as well, he's going on, and it's when he looked up to the briefcase. I was like, "Nah, he's declaring himself. No way!"
He didn't
And
need to,
then
though, did he?
fair
Priest
play,
offered it to him.
fair play to Priest though, the way he come down again and
Yeah,
gave it as if
I
to
think.
say, I'm the champion, and if you want to fight, I'm gonna fight you."
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's not backing away from
And
any
who
challenge.
and who better to fight? You've already okay. Yes, you've had an assist from Punk, but you've beaten McIntyre.
Beaten
McIntyre beat
Jay,
Rollins. Rollins was the first world heavyweight champion with this new title. He couldn't be beaten until he lost to McIntyre. So who's next to beat other than Gunter? But Gunter's not going to get his shot at SummerSlam. So there's no point in doing that now.
No, he can just watch on, can't
He
he,
can
and
just
sort of
wait. He can wait and relax and just have a few little matches here
bide
and
his
there until
time.
SummerSlam. Yeah,
But yeah,
absolutely.
I think that'll be quite an interesting match because it'll
Yeah.
be obviously you don't know how fit both of them are going to be, not just Rollins
Well, yeah,
because you don't know
exactly. But again,
how
I think
Drew's McIntyre Priest is going to be on that front,
I think
how
two
the ankle
people that will
is.
work well together. Priest might have an advantage over Seth purely because if you look at it from an insight, an overall perspective, he's got Finn in his corner. Finn knows Seth really well. They've gone up against each other a number of times. Seth
Mm.
obviously beat Finn when Finn was back in the World Heavyweight Championship picture when he was trying to get back in because it was and I feel bad for Finn because Finn's been relegated to a jobber. Basically, he's a high named jobber. You look, he hasn't won much recently at all. And then obviously he's taken that loss to Jey Uso for the Money in the Bank qualifier. He's been losing as a tag team with Dominic or JD, whichever one. He only seems to ever win when he's with Damien.
Yeah, but that's like I don't think he minds it though because he's got quite a lot of say in the
Hmm,
backstage story.
yeah, maybe not so much, but I'd like to see him back in that main event picture. And
And to be
another one
fair,
that took an interesting turn. Sorry, go on. Yeah,
I was just saying, to be fair to Finn as well, this whole story backstage could sort of propel him to he could be Finn's next challenger before Gunther.
that's true.
He could lead up to building a hate against him to
Hmm.
costing Priest against Gunther or something. Like
Well,
there's
they had that segment before, didn't they? Because Damien said to him, I need to know that if you go on to win Money in the Bank, I need to know where you're coming from. And he said, yeah. He said, I'm going to go after Cody. He said, you can trust me.
mm,
I'm not sure he would have done.
no,
I'm not
there's
sure.
been a lot of resenting that title from him
Yeah.
ever since Priest got his hands on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. I totally see it. Um,
And
I
obviously he
do one
confronted him
thing.
about the room key as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Priest confronted Finn about the room key, so it's sort of like again testing loyalties.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can't blame him for picking up that. I mean, anyone else would in if they're right minds.
Well, if you unless you're Dom, because he doesn't seem
Well,
to be bothered.
I think he is though. I think that's the whole point. I think he's just playing hard to get. I think he is starting to. I
Falling
mean,
in love with her.
yeah,
Let's not
she is
sugarcoat
becoming.
it. Let's not sugarcoat
She,
it.
no, she is slowly becoming his new mummy. That's what's happening. Let's face it.
Well, I don't know. She wants him as daddy, so
Oh, I still agree with you. She should have said Pappy. If she had said Pappy, it just would have hit differently.
yeah, massively. It's
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that.
yeah, they're well, obviously they got caught out as well, didn't they? When she's there with his vest on, and he's got to take
And
it off
Priest
her, and then
calls him.
obviously Priest comes
Yeah,
in,
yeah.
just
Well, that's
calling
what I
her
mean. This is what I said. Nobody
crazy.
shouted at her. They've just said leave him alone. Nobody's actually got into her and gone right. You stay clear of him.
Yeah, threatened
They've
her or
just gone, yeah,
anything.
just leave him alone. He's just leave the poor kid alone. He wants
It's
nothing
like
to do with you. And she's like, well, I think he wants everything to do with me.
it's like they feel they're missing that little that link of a world
Yeah,
champion, and they need her, but yet they don't want to obviously
they don't
just
want to
say
replace.
get in.
Yeah,
She's got
they
it's
don't want
another
to.
one because obviously he's told Carlito he's got to earn his stripes. So is he
Yeah,
subtly saying it to Liv without actually saying it to her? Like earn your stripes, but leave Dom alone, and you're
but
in.
then the question is when does Rhea come back?
That's an
How
interesting one.
soon does Rhea come back?
I mean, I'd love
Because
it to be
obviously
SummerSlam.
I would like it to be, and if you look at it, it's possible. Because if you look at it this way, at the moment, Nia Jax is set for Bailey. She won Queen of the Ring. She's set on SmackDown. Liv has a storyline around Dom. That's it. She has no contender at the moment. So with the storyline being so heavily involved for her, with no dead set challenges that are clearly set out moving forward, it only makes sense that in time Rhea's watching from home and goes, you know what, I've had enough. And that she
It,
comes back and she's been either she's been cleared barely, or she signs up for a non-sanctioned match at SummerSlam.
It'd be very interesting, wouldn't it? As if to say, put a mark down and just, I've had
Yeah.
enough. I don't care
Just to
if I'm
say,
not
do you know what? I don't care if
100%.
I'm clear. I'll sign the paperwork. I'm going to kick your ass.
Yeah, you leave my
Yeah.
Dom
My
alone.
family alone, basically. You leave my Dom and my family alone, yeah.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. Yeah,
It can
Dom
go,
is slightly turning though, because you look at little bits, he's smirking a lot more around her now. He's getting a little bit of a smile going. It's as though he's loving the attention a bit too much.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I saw when they brought out the clip of Liv on Instagram, because you know as well, you know me pretty well. Instagram tends to be the only social media I really use, especially like for wrestling and stuff. I collab chat with the snippets and everything, and all of the comments on Instagram were on the clip of her going, "A gorgeous man like you needs a girl to call you daddy." Every comment, one after the other, I would have broke as soon as she said daddy. How did he keep a straight face? I'd have broken and she killed me.
Wow. But yeah, I see ones on that clip as well, like obviously of him undoing it with the vest with his hand. But
Yeah.
all the comments are like, I would have used my teeth. I would have used my
Yeah.
teeth. I would have bit it off. I was like, oh, this is brilliant. Like, it is. It's interesting to see how long this will go on for, like you
Yeah.
say, because it all evolves around Rhea coming back now, because there's
Yeah.
not
So it's
much else,
exactly.
because the sort of LWO rivalry is just a side
Well, the
quest,
only other rivalry
really.
that now will happen, I mean, you maybe this is me reading into it too much and being too speculative, but when you've got Braun Strowman fighting against the Judgment Day and the Wyatt Six are now here, he's not in the Wyatt Six, but he was in the Wyatt family.
Yeah, so that's sort of like
Judgment Day is the
help a
biggest
brother out,
faction.
maybe. But and
Judgment
then
Day, I mean, LWO is it's a tiny faction if you look at it that way. You've got what Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee,
Zelina Vega and
Zelina Vega, and that's pretty much it, right? You had
yeah,
Carlito, he's gone. Andrade doesn't want to be a part of any faction because
no,
he made that known to he made that known to Legado Fantasma.
he is the speed
And then they're
champion.
another.
Don't forget.
Yeah, but again,
No, speed means everything these days. All right,
yeah,
bigger than the
okay,
heavyweight championship at this point,
yeah, yeah.
by the sounds of it.
I mean, certainly defended more often.
Yeah, true. But yeah, going back to it, go on. Yeah, like you're saying.
Like I say, I
And
could be
then
just being too speculative, but I think
I don't know if it
if
makes
they're
sense
going to
though.
have a story, I mean, I think if they're going to have a story faction for faction, Judgment Day are the one to go for. I think just because they are the biggest faction in terms of numbers, but also they are a faction that have been established for quite some time now, and they
I
are
don't
a
know
heel
if it
faction.
sort of I don't know if it diminishes it a bit though. That obviously you had like the Wyatts versus obviously the Shield, and that was an insane rivalry. Like, but
Yeah,
that was like at its peak because they were both massive, like
yeah.
stable or
I
faction
don't
stables.
think
But whereas this, it doesn't. I don't think it makes sense because they're not going after titles. The Wyatt Six, they're just
no.
out to make statements and cause chaos. So going
It's
for
a bit like
it's like, and they targeting individuals by the looks of it at this point.
well, yeah, because they've gone after Gable and they haven't gone after the rest of Alpha Academy because again they pinpointed, like you said, that
They're like
Gable has changed. He's
it's
stopped
like
with his
lost souls
manners.
or something. Maybe I
Yeah,
don't know, like the way that
it's
they're
almost
aiming
like
at it. Because
it's
that's what
almost like the Saw movies. Do you know what I mean? Like the guy in Saw goes after people that are ungrateful in life, and they take everything for granted. That's almost what they're doing. They're looking at Chad and going, "Okay, you've got this family, but you've messed them about. You're being horrible to them. You're treating them like shit. We're gonna teach you a lesson because of it."
that's what Funhouse was all about with Bray, though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It
it
was all
was. Yeah,
about
that's exactly what it was.
trying to make them great again in that sense. 'Cause obviously, he
Yeah,
went through that whole thing with Cena when Cena lost his way a bit, and he sort of
yeah.
tried to turn him
Cena went
around. But
through every phase possible.
and it
NWO.
makes sense because obviously at the same time, obviously when Bo Dallas was Bo, it was Bo leave, and he was trying to
Yeah,
make people Bo leave in
yeah.
themselves and make them better. So
That's it.
it's got a nice little evolving around finding broken people, but
Yeah,
obviously hurting them to a point where they then obviously realise what they've done,
they're
rather
realizing the error of their ways. Yeah,
but causing shock, pure shock,
it's gonna be interesting to see who they go for.
and how they play it. Like because
Yeah,
obviously I can't see Gable being there next week. So what are they get? They might not even be there next week. They might just
they might
we're
not be.
here,
They might have
we're
just
here
appeared to say
now,
we're here, but
taking
when are we
someone
coming
out,
back?
taking someone away,
Yeah.
and it's just sort of leaving it now open. Like you say,
Then what happens to Gable as well?
when
Because
are we going
obviously
to come back?
Gable
Gable's
being
out
done
of
with,
the IC
but just
title for now. He's out
yeah.
of that.
But I mean, just as a whole, the fact that the Wyatt Six have taken him out. What happens with Chad now? Because he's just obviously re-signed with WWE, so they're not going to kill him off. That makes no sense at all.
No,
Um,
they can't do it 2 weeks on a trot. They obviously killed off
no,
Ricochet.
for God's sake. Speaking of Braun Breaker, that surprised me because obviously last week we said about him propelling past the IC Championship up to heavyweight, but now he's declared himself coming after Sammy for that Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, and what made it even more strange was Ludwig
Yeah,
declared himself for Money in the Bank, but then all of a sudden he's just chucked himself his hat in the ring
but he's
for
just going
the
after
Intercontinental
Sheamus, though, isn't he? I
Championship.
think, but
Well,
I think that's
it could be a possible fatal four-way
I think so.
at
This is what I said to you the other day. Yeah,
at Money in the Bank
could well
with
be.
the four of them for the title
But then again, if
because
Ludwig's Money in the Bank, do
well he
they do
hasn't
it
been
as a
put in a
triple threat instead?
well it's that the reliable source obviously Yaz has
Yeah,
said that the fatal four-way is there.
I
So
mean, it is there. It's there, definitely there. You've got Ludwig, Bronbreaker, Sheamus, and Sammy, and I honestly think the best. There's only two people in my mind that win that. I love Sammy. You know this. I've called it for weeks that Sammy's going to retain. He's going to do this and that. And I was surprised that Sammy retained at Clash because I thought they would have gone with Gable. But I like the fact he has retained. But in my mind, you got to go for Sheamus or Braun. Don't get me wrong. Ludwig deserves it, but I think he needs more of a singles run
well
first because he's only had this singles run with Sheamus.
there's a theory on it though, because obviously now he's stepped away from Gunther's shadow. Does
Yeah,
he target the IC title to to beat Gunther's
to
reign
beat Gunther's reign. Ooh,
and prove that he was better than what
he's
Gunther
always been the
was?
best.
Because he said he's not a little bitch anymore. He
Yeah,
can stand on his own 2 feet, so he's sort of thrown digs towards
yeah.
Gunther. So does taking
I
the
mean,
IC title and holding it for
he's good enough for it. Definitely good
yeah.
enough for it. I just think he needs more singles action first. Otherwise, let him roll with it. Absolutely, I think he'd be great for it. But I
I think that
think,
would suit him more before he tries to go for Money in the Bank.
yeah, I think so. I think I mean, if he wins, fair enough. I won't be mad at it. But logically, I think he needs a slightly longer singles run first. But then again, it could be argued for Bron as well. He's only been on the main roster, but in my mind, there's only two outcomes, and that's Bron or Sheamus. Sheamus because it would make him a Grand Slam champion. I think that makes perfect sense. It's the only championship he's not won. He's won the
Yeah,
World Heavyweight. He's won the WWE United States, both tag teams. You know, the only thing that's eluding him is the IC Championship. But then Bron Breakker is on such a tear at the moment, and it'd be a great push for him to give him that singles championship and elevate him as well as I think it would actually elevate. And you can see the crowd are behind him. The crowd are quite behind Bron. You know,
well, he's just
you saw
such a
that
beast. Like,
pace. Well, when Ludwig went to run round and take out Sheamus, and then he ran the other way and
and just
took out
chopped him
Ludwig
in
that
half.
spear. Even Cole said it. Cole was like, "Did you see how much ground he covered that quickly?" Because he ran from halfway up the ramp, and Ludwig was right on this side of the ring, and he had to
Yeah,
go almost double the distance and
it
met
was
him right in the middle.
it was great how he done that, and pulled it off.
Yeah,
And I just thought, yeah, that this guy doesn't care who's in the way. And then obviously he went straight for Sammy after, didn't he?
Yeah, and I
Literally
love that. I
threw
love that.
threw him back as if to say, right,
Yeah,
I've got all your numbers.
I
That's
think it
it.
will. I think it will come out in the next. I think next week it will be announced that it will be a fatal four way at Money in the Bank for the IC Championship.
Well, yeah, because you'll start getting some extra, like your matches getting laid
Yeah,
up because obviously we're only 3 weeks away,
exactly that. We are only 3 weeks away.
and we've only got
So
one Money in the Bank contender, so it's going to be interesting.
yeah, well they've got qualifiers, haven't they? And the other thing I want to talk about championship wise, and I know, like we said, we're just going to flip about and let the conversation flow. So Clash at the Castle. The one thing I noticed immediately, and obviously it was noticed around the world, Kevin Owens and Randy came out to save Cody from
Yeah,
the bloodline after Cody was walking down the aisle, the winner. And the one thing that everyone noticed across the world is that Viper stare at that championship on Cody's shoulder.
and it's not the first time that he's been pictured with that
It's not.
stare
It's
because
not.
it happened at WrestleMania when he
Yep.
won it. It was the jealous stare, and it's
Yep.
happened backstage where he's been reluctant to congratulate properly.
Yep.
So yeah, that what we spoke about last week, where I was saying about the end game. Randy is he is after that title.
He's after that title. Whether he wins the championship or not is a different story. I say the same thing I say about AJ. I think he deserves it. He needs that run. He's been 18 months out. He's back on amazing form. Obviously, went away for a couple of weeks. Came back on Friday to save KO against the Bloodline again. Um, I think, and the two of them will just put on a hell of a match. I think the two of them will just be incredible.
It's interesting though because obviously, that when I saw Solo behind Cody, I was like, "What the fuck?" Like,
Well, I
where's
knew there was speculation that Solo was going to be next. So it didn't surprise me too much to see him because I knew that there was that speculation that Solo and Cody are going to go head to head next. But then that speculation in my mind went from, well, is it Solo or is it Randy?
or is it a triple threat?
Interesting. Yeah, very interesting.
Because yeah, it's I don't know, like, is it too soon, is it too soon for Solo in the Bloodline to want to come back for this title already?
I don't think it's too soon, no, because obviously that's what their ultimate goal is because when they came back after WrestleMania and they saw Cody's name on the dressing room and Heyman was like, look, things
Oh,
change. There's certain perks with being champion that we don't get now. Um, so I think that's always been the goal. But I think obviously the bloodline, they have to deal with Randy KO. And I think if we don't get a championship match with Cody at Money in the Bank, I think we're going to get a 3-on-3. I think we're going to get KO, Randy
yeah.
Orton, and Cody against the bloodline.
I mean that'll make for a good tag
Yeah,
team.
yeah, would be a great match. Would be a great match, and it makes sense. Solo wants to go after Cody. Randy and KO have got beef with Tamatonga and Tonga Loa, and Bloodline in general.
And
Anyway,
also, this could then spark a new member of the Bloodline to appear,
Jacob Fatu.
or
But
Hikulu, or whatever.
yeah, I think is it Hikayo, but they've trademarked that name now as well. So WWE own that name for when he comes, so they'll keep that for him. They've trademarked it.
So
Um,
yes, that it could
but then
spark
again,
Bloodline
I keep
growing.
questioning myself with Fatu. Are they going to set Fatu up as brother or cousin, whichever? I can never keep, I can never keep track of them all because there are a lot of them. But is Fatu going to come in and team up with Jimmy?
Yeah, because I was about to say, don't forget, we've still not seen Jimmy
We've
since he
still not
got
seen Jimmy,
brutalized at that point
and that was
in time.
that was that was before WrestleMania. No, it wasn't. It was
After,
just after
yeah,
WrestleMania. Yeah,
because you also obviously had from Friday night, Solo threatened Heyman, didn't he?
yeah.
Said it, so they're not taking anything from Heyman no more. It seems as though he's losing his wise man status with this bloodline.
Yeah,
Like they're starting to think that they don't need him,
I think, and I
and he's
think
just
that's
got
going to
to
be the
do the
biggest
bitch
turning
work.
point. Yeah, and I think that would be the biggest turning point for Roman to come back. I think once they lose faith in Heyman, that's when Roman will come back and go, "What the hell are you doing?" Because this man is the man that has helped the bloodline grow so much. Because the one thing with Roman throughout his tenure as the tribal chief, you saw that he treated the family like shit, and was but he always respected Heyman. He always loved Heyman,
Yeah, it's
and Heyman
yeah.
was his right hand man, and he trusted Heyman to the point that whatever you say goes, I'll do it. And Solo's not doing that now, so I think that would be the biggest thing to piss to piss Roman off would be the disrespect and the shunning of Heyman.
Oh, massively, yeah. And it's like you don't want to do that because
No,
he's the one that can basically win or lose you a massive title match
yeah,
in hindsight. But yeah, if you're going to go against the wise man's words, then you're on your own, buddy. Pepe,
yeah,
Pepe Le
I
Skunk, you're
think
on your
so.
own, son.
Pepe Le Pew, Solo Le Pew.
But yeah,
Um,
it's interesting though, like the route with the bloodlines. I think at this point as well, I think some people, I think more because obviously Roman's not head of the table, so it's
yeah,
Solo. But yes, a lot of people were starting to go against them, which
a lot of people don't like this version of the Bloodline.
no, which
They,
I
you know,
know
they,
I understand because it's a complete overhaul.
yeah.
Like it's not just
I
so
mean,
Roman's gone, but you've still got everyone else doing the same
yeah.
thing. It's they've changed
Well, yeah,
the whole
because
way
Jimmy
that
got kicked out, and then he's
they
brought in
act.
two new people. Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, as well, you got to look at it this way: as humans, we love to hate stuff, and especially with wrestling, you love to hate a heel. A heel can be your favorite wrestler because you love how he interacts with the crowd and riles them up. And that's the thing with Roman and his version of the Bloodline. We hated the Bloodline, but we love to hate them because they were so good at what they did. But unfortunately, Solo is, in my mind, he's not a good fit to be the head of the table. He's good at what he does as the enforcer,
Mm.
but I don't think he's the face of the bloodline. Whereas I would have liked to have seen it go to Jimmy, if anybody. But Solo makes sense in one way, in the sense that one, Roman said it was going to go to him anyway, so it made sense on that side of things. But two, he is that tenacious bloodhound looking for chaos. So it makes sense if they're going to unravel that it's unraveled under his accord, under his accord and his instruction. But yeah, I know what you mean. I've seen loads of people going, "We hate this new bloodline. We want the old bloodline back. We want Roman." Every comment I see on it, there's at least 20 comments, or at least one comment with thousands of likes on every video that I watch. We want Roman. We miss Roman.
There's a massive void that's like noticeable on that
And the
front.
thing is,
It's
5 years ago, you never would have expected that to be Roman Reigns,
no, not with how they were
because he
pushing him.
hadn't he hadn't had that. He was getting the push, but he hadn't hit the promo stage that he needed to hit yet. And then with Paul Heyman behind him, that has driven him so far up. And now you've got people going from saying that he was terrible to saying that we miss him and we want him back. So he's clearly done, like John Cena. John Cena said in an interview, like, to me, a GOAT is somebody that's changed the industry, somebody that's changed the business, and Roman is doing that. And you can't
Mm.
deny that he has done that. He
Roman and
definitely
Seth,
has.
I'd put Seth on there as well. Seth up
Yeah,
next to
Seth,
him
definitely.
because
Yeah, yeah,
Seth carried him through
yeah,
them bad times.
absolutely. Absolutely did. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where the new bloodline goes. SmackDown at the moment is still, for me, is still very much lackluster. But one thing I wanted to talk about on that is the tag titles, because we keep seeing the tag titles from Raw being defended. We've seen them being defended a few times against like the Judgment Day and stuff like that. AOP and
Mm.
Miz and Truth are still championships, and I love that. I've only seen Waller and Grayson. Grayson is fucking Waller. What am I talking about? I've only seen Waller and Theory defend them once. but they both won at WrestleMania. So why have we not had the tag titles either defended more frequently in a main event or something on a weekly show, or why have they not featured in a pay-per-view since?
It is a strange one, like you say, because obviously the like World Heavyweight Tag Team titles or World Tag Team titles, whatever one you want to
World
call
Tag
it.
Team titles and WWE Tag Team Championships, yeah.
So yeah, Truth and Miz are constantly defending them. They're constantly in
I've seen
matches.
them
They're
defend them more, yeah, but it's on a weekly show. It's around mid card, but they were won at WrestleMania. They were highlighted as a big match at
and
WrestleMania.
they split
You
them
had
for a purpose as well.
yeah,
They didn't.
exactly.
So for them, but then it goes to show how much we touch on the point of how weak the SmackDown tag division is,
Well,
that
this
they
is it, and the
can't,
reason I bring it up,
they don't want to keep doing a round robin of the same tag
yeah,
teams. Maybe
but
this
the reason
build up with DIY
I
is their
hope that
way
leads
of
to something because
pushing
obviously,
to Money in the Bank,
yeah,
I'd
and I love
say.
that segment. I love that Waller effect segment because obviously Johnny Gargano telling Austin, "I've known you for a long time. I'm telling you, this guy is using you." Grayson then strikes out at Johnny. Austin gets hit by a super kick because he pushes Waller out of the way. But then when Ciampa goes for the running knee, Waller pushes Theory into the way. And obviously we've had these comments of Waller saying, well, Austin Theory is only relevant because of the Waller rub. And then I think they're set to lose. I think they're set to go
Yeah,
head to head. Battle of egos. Waller thinks he's better than Theory. Theory isn't having any of it. I think that's going to happen. And DOY are a great choice. But do it at a PLE. Drag it out for a couple of weeks. Let them have a couple of storylines. Let them have a different match with different teams, but still have them lead up to that PLE and have them win and change again at a PLE. And one of the main reasons I brought this up is because a guy from my Discord who's also a wrestling fan, British Pitbull, he brought it up and messaged me. He said, "Dude, I loved the broadcast from last week." He said, "I'd really like to hear more about the tag team championships," and I totally agree. But again, there is that reason that at the moment, like you said, the round robin effect. We've just all the same tag teams, and they don't want to keep doing that. And I understand that, but then elevate them so they're being done at a PLE. Drag it out, make the storyline a week longer than it normally would be. Have them, the titles were designed for a reason. They look fantastic. The new titles compared to the old ones are great. And like you said, they
yeah,
were split for a reason.
yeah. No, like, when you go back to it, obviously they had the two sets of tag team titles. They were on a build up to them being defended or something. You would see them. Well, like you've seen, obviously they've gone one on one with each other
Yeah.
on that, but at the same time, then you'd see a big attack, like a 3-on-3. Obviously, they did
Hmm.
include one from each side. They would keep the rivalry going in matches week in, week out,
Even
but
if they weren't tag matches, yeah.
they've slowed it down a lot. And whereas on the front of Miz and Truth, they're having good promos backstage. They're then obviously bringing that to the ring, then having good matches, like and defending them, and obviously being pushed to the limit. But Grayson and Waller just seem to be more worried about their appearance than they do
Yeah.
actually wanting to defend their tag team titles or actually be in a challenge week in, week out. Because when you
Yeah.
look at them going one on one with DIY, they were just sort of more interested in how they looked rather than
Yeah.
actually putting on a show in that sense. Like
I think that's
I
I
know
think
their
that's part of the
characters are
character for sure. Yeah.
absolute dickheads and egos are bigger than
Yeah, just
anything, but
egomaniacs, absolutely.
I know you've got two of them together. It's so annoying. Like you normally
Yeah.
got one that's got the big ego and the other one that's just trying to keep everything in line. But they're both big egos. Obviously, that's destined for clash. Like they're gonna
Yeah.
headbutt
Yeah.
at
Oh yeah,
some
of
point,
course.
and but where they're posers as well, it doesn't help because they don't want to be involved in a week in, week out match, and it's
No.
annoying because you want to see a bit of like intense rivalry. You want to see like them getting beat on a singles front, getting
Yeah.
beat by another tag team whilst they're still champions, obviously in a non-title match. So it sort of gives an upper hand to the other tag team. But they're not. They're just being.
No,
They're
and
being.
that's
It's like they're
that.
being wrapped in bubble like wrapped in bubble wrap, like
Yeah, and
protected for
that's the
some
thing, isn't it?
strange reason.
Yeah, no, I don't get it because there are teams like DIY that are more deserving. I mean, I said it back at WrestleMania. If anyone was going to win, I was looking at DIY and Awesome Truth. Obviously, half right. I didn't expect Grayson and Theory to be the ones that were going to come out of WrestleMania, but here we are again. WrestleMania was beginning of April. We're now almost, we're just over halfway through June, so we're 3 months away from WrestleMania. And I've seen them defend it once, whereas Miz and Truth have defended them a few times. But they need to be elevated for the prestige that they used to be. When you had the likes of DX and stuff, and I know that the tag team division now is completely different, but there are so many people there that you could make amazing tag teams with. When you look at NXT, NXT have got a few good tag teams, like Chase University and stuff that could be elevated up to the main roster
It's
to increase that tag division, slightly.
it's not even that. If you look back on the days of SmackDown and tag team champions, that
Mm,
it wasn't always actual tag teams that
no,
were going. You had like Batista and Rey Mysterio just
yeah, exactly,
just formed a little team just to think, oh, we'll go after these titles, and then you've got like
yeah.
The Rock and Triple H, The Rock, like Cena and Batista and Michaels and
Well,
Cena,
even Cena, even I was going to say,
like
even Cena and
the
Shawn
most
Michaels are
random,
former tag team champions.
the most random of tag teams always. It's easy to do that. Like they could easily just go right. We've got an RKO here. We've got a beast of a tag team.
Yeah,
Let's just throw them in the hat. Let's
exactly.
ruffle some feathers a little bit.
We could, yeah, exactly. And I know they've got the story with Bloodline again, but
But it
if
doesn't
they turn
matter.
around and said, okay, you got DIY, you got AOP, you've got New Catch Republic, and you've got RKO. This is a four-way tag team match. Winner is the number one contender. RKO would, like you say, ruffle some feathers, but also where are Pretty Deadly gone? Pretty Deadly are a great tag team.
Yeah, ever since Kevin,
Yeah, ever since Kevin double punched him, they've disappeared.
they've like vanished
I
off of
know,
TV
and they're a great
completely.
tag team. They're a great character. I love their characters between the two. They're two posh English blokes that think they're better than everybody else,
But you
and
could even
they've got good chemistry and good skills in the ring.
like even for some other people like LA Knight. If
Yeah,
obviously depending on this whole saga with Logan Paul, but LA Knight could form a tag team with someone, or Carmelo Hayes could form a tag team
yeah,
with someone just to give them that elevation and take someone to the brink in a championship match
yeah,
to then
exactly.
elevate these stars a bit more. Because obviously Carmelo, if he's played right, is destined to reach the top. Obviously LA Knight
Yeah.
as well, and then but yeah, if you're gonna like just keep it hovering around the same four tag teams, then you might as well just merge the belts back together.
Well, this is it, and then you might as well, yeah, exactly, and you might as well have the tag team division as it was before, where the champions, like the women's tag team champions, are not brand exclusive, and they can flitter between all three brands.
Yeah, that's it. Well, it's the way that you see it at the moment. You
It's
might as
almost
well just
pointless
do
that they
that
split it.
because
Yeah,
yeah, or just let awesome. Yeah, it's just I don't know.
and
I
it
hate
is
it
it's a
because
shame
it still
because
means something to be tag team champion. It's
yeah,
not like at the moment
exactly.
they're not.
Well, you look at the past, and you look at the champions of the past, and this is why again, British Pitbull, I agreed with him when he brought it up. It's because they were defended usually a couple of times a month, but in a high stakes match, upper card on the week shows, but it meant something. And like you said, you had the likes of DX, you had Batista and Rey Mysterio,
You
you
even
had the
had
heart, and even
like
before that, you had
Kane
the likes of,
RVD, Kane X
yeah,
Pac. Like,
exactly. Just
come on.
randomized tag teams that did really well.
Or just
You
put
know,
two big guys together in Big Show and Kane.
yeah.
Chris
Or yeah,
Jericho and
exactly.
Kane. Was it Chris Jericho and
Jericho.
Kane or yeah?
No,
Oh,
Chris
Jericho,
Jericho and Big Show.
Big
Yeah, they're
Show. That's it.
Jericho. Yeah, they
But
were undisputed tag team
so
champions.
like why? Yeah, like why can't I don't know? someone go tag team with Omos or
Well, they did
something
that
like.
with AJ, didn't they? Because obviously AJ was set up with Omos before, and Omos then came in. But then there's so much they could do, and I think I totally agree with you. Having an RKO put in that division, once if they're done with Bloodline and they carry on teaming, there's no reason that they couldn't be put in that tag division
Or
to
even
elevate the tag division, ruffle the
you've even
feathers.
got the Bloodline that can just be put in there. Tama and
Yeah,
Tua, like
exactly. You could do,
they
yeah,
were a decent when they
yeah.
went as a tag team. Why can't they be in the mix? Like
Well, exactly,
utilize these people. Don't just have them doing promos and attacking people. Utilize
exactly
them
that.
as wrestlers as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the thing. They've
especially
had
for
a couple of
SmackDown.
matches.
It's a 2 hour show. You've got. I know you've got to try and pack a lot into it, but you're packing too many promos in over matches, decent
Yeah,
matches that you could actually align here.
and that's the one thing that a lot of companies have had aggro with about WWE, and that's like AEW specifically have gone, oh well, they don't wrestle, they just promo. Yeah, I mean, but WWE pride themselves on storytelling, and they do it well.
Oh yeah,
They
don't
do it
I
well, but
never knock the storytelling,
yeah,
but at the same
absolutely.
time,
But again, yeah, again,
if it's
reduce
a
the
free
promo time temporarily.
if it's a 3 hour show like Raw,
It's a
then
bit
fine.
different.
You've got enough time to pack
Yeah,
everything into it. But where you've only got a 2 hour show, you've got to make the most of the rest of the wrestling rather than the promo, in my
yeah,
opinion.
exactly that, and I think that's exactly what should be focused on is the wrestling. When I used to when I watched TNT, and I was growing up watching Nitro, for the most part, Monday Nitro was wrestling. You'd
Mm,
get a 3 hour show, but it would be packed with about maybe 8 matches. Whereas now you see like even pay-per-views, even PLEs that are 4 hours long. You see five. I mean, look at Clash of the Castle, 5 matches.
yeah.
You could easily have packed another 2 matches in there, but because you've got a half an hour promo on Jey Uso, who's not even fighting, he's not even there. I get that you want to hype him up for Money in the Bank and you want people behind him and you want to keep that hype train going for him. Understood. Do it on Monday Night Raw. He's not there at Clash of the Castle. Reduce that 15 minutes. Put a little match in. Put a little match in. With somebody that deserves a spot on the PLE, even if it's just 2 NXT. Move an NXT match up and go, okay, we're going to have Roxanne Perez defend the NXT Championship at Clash of the Castle. Give them a big platform.
But
Elevate some
also,
youth.
a PLE isn't always about every belt has to be defended.
No,
A
exactly
PLE
not.
is where grudges come to a head
Grudges
come to a
end. Yeah,
head.
exactly.
Like yeah, old grudges end or new rivalries begin. But
Yeah,
because you'd have like on a random PLE like or pay per view as it was back in the day, you'd have just a random one on one between whoever, like last man standing match or
yeah.
hardcore like
Well,
you'd
an ambulance match or a buried alive match between Undertaker and Kane or something like that.
you'd
An
always
I
get
Quit
just
match between John Cena and Layfield because it was a rivalry. Because I mean, how long did that rivalry go on for? I mean, John Cena poured fucking kidney beans and shit all over Layfield. He got crime time to smash up his limo. He did this, that, and the other for ages and got on his nerves. And then they ended it in that I Quit match, and it was a great match between the two of them. But like you say, it's not always about championships. You could have a whole PLE based on a few grudges here and there, or at least have a one or two in there
mm,
where the championship doesn't necessarily have to be on the line, but you've got these two guys that genuinely hate each other, want to kick the crap out of each other, and put on a
why
hell
could
of a
it,
show.
why couldn't we have had Carmelo Hayes versus LA Knight again?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
Because
If they dropped that
they've
promo time, they
they've
could have done
come
that.
they've come head to head. Obviously,
Yeah,
um, LA Knight got a cheeky roll up win
yeah.
over Carmelo, so it wasn't a clean win.
It
So
wasn't. And then
why
Carmelo dropped a
couldn't
promo last week saying, oh, well, LA Knight's all worried about titles, whereas I'm looking at the future and, it doesn't have to be about that.
so why couldn't you
I'm
drop?
still going to be him.
You could have dropped a 15-minute match between
Yeah.
them two on there, and it would have been a great spectacle between them.
Or KO was there. Clearly, Tamatonga and everyone were there, and Randy. Randy came out after Cody's fight dressed in his wrestling gear. Yet he wasn't scheduled to wrestle. Why? Why are you hanging around backstage ready to wrestle if you're not wrestling? You could have had Randy against Tongaloa or KO against Tamatonga, something like that, to boil tension between the bloodline. Reduce that promo time, especially if it's got nothing to do with that current
With
event.
that event, yeah, I totally agree. But then just it's a way, obviously, that the world is going. Its promos are bigger than anything at the moment.
Yeah, but that's because of how the internet is. That's how we could, because the influence that the internet has on,
Well, yeah,
you
can
look at
pump it onto
TikTok
social
especially.
media.
Yeah, and TikTok especially. TikTok is, and Vine was the one that started it. Vine with the 7-second clips was the one that started it. That if you can catch the attention of somebody in 7 seconds, you're nailing it, and people carry on watching those videos and scroll through, and that's that's where it all started. And I understand that promos are huge, but when you're a wrestling fan, and especially not just a fan, but if you're a wrestling purist, even go beyond a fan and be a wrestling purist, you would go back to the days of watching WCW and Raw and the Attitude Era, where there wasn't so many commercial breaks. Now, how many times have we said to each other, watching Monday Night Raw, and we've texted each other while it's on, going, "Oh, 5 minutes of wrestling," and there's a 40-minute advert clip, or there's a 45-minute promo, and then you get 30 seconds of wrestling followed by 5 minutes of ads.
Yeah, it must be so frustrating for the wrestlers as well, though, because obviously
Yeah, because they've got to hang around
they've got to
in
stop.
that ring while the adverts are going on.
Whereas when it does go to Netflix, we ain't gonna get
Yeah,
these ads no more. These ads are gone.
no, no,
You know,
not
because
no.
they
Well,
don't.
I don't know, because I think they're changing their tier system, aren't they? I think they're saying that they're changing their subscribers tiers. So if you subscribe at one level, you get a certain amount of ads. If you pay an extra lot, you reduce the ads,
Oh
and if you
yeah,
pay
no.
something else, there's
I
no ads
meant
at all.
the
Oh
actual
yeah, I know
event
what you mean.
itself.
Yeah, yeah,
Like they're not going to be
yeah.
breaking for ads. They're going to be
No,
straight through now. Like
but that's great though, because that will be back to the days of like Monday Nitro. I remember watching Monday Nitro for 3 hours, and I think they had three ad clips in that 3 hours, like one every hour they would have. So you'd have the show, and 45 minutes in, they might run a 3-minute ad clip. 3 minutes later, you're back for another hour and a half. One more ad clip, run it again, one ad clip. 10 minutes later, the show's over. You get the last 10 minutes, which is typically a promo setting up the next week. And I loved it because it was all in ring action. Very little promo stuff, all in ring action. And it was storytelling at its finest, especially with the likes of NWO and stuff like that, because they were great.
and see, it's frustrating. And talking of frustration, obviously one thing we've not even touched on from Monday night,
Mm.
Drew McIntyre with a bombshell,
I quit. Yeah.
an absolute emotional bombshell, because you could feel what he was going through at that moment. You could see it in his
You
eyes. He
can't blame him.
was pure.
I mean, obviously, he knows what's going on. He obviously knows what's happening backstage. But regardless, to be told, Drew, you're not winning at Glasgow. You're not coming out
No,
heavyweight
no.
champion.
You're not winning on your home soil twice.
Yeah, you're not winning in Wales last year at the first ever Clash of the Castle. And we're going to make you look a fool by
At
singing with Tyson
WrestleMania
Fury at the end of the event.
and at
Then we're going to
WrestleMania as
make you
well.
look like a fool at WrestleMania. And now we're going to make you look a fool in front of everybody by bringing out the person you hate more than anyone in the world. And he's going to screw you over by kicking you in the bollocks.
That,
Fuck me.
like, yeah, you've got to be thick skin. It's good. It's great that he's Scottish, because you've got to be
I
thick skinned to
think
go through this shit.
he's obviously got some control of the creative narrative in the back.
Yeah,
He's obviously got to say, I think he's more than happy to have a rivalry with Punk. I think, although he doesn't really, because I don't think he likes Punk away from, I don't think they're friends outside of, I don't think this is kayfabe. I think he genuinely doesn't like Punk. I may be
yeah.
wrong, but I think he's more than happy to have a rivalry with Punk. And why wouldn't you? I mean, Punk, although he's lost a couple of steps in the ring because he's had so much time out with injury, both in AEW, and prior to that, he was out of wrestling for years anyway. He's still one of the best on the mic. he's still somebody that can rile up a crowd so easily, and that elevates anybody. Punk is still a household name in the wrestling business. I mean, for 10 years he was gone from the WWE, and for 10 years every live show there was at least one Punk. There's at least one chant for CM Punk. You don't get that if you are not a name that people want to see, and that you've done something for the business. And Drew, I think, is clever enough to go, do you know what? I can wait it out, and I can do this. As long as I know the end goal is going to go where I'd like it to. But I ultimately think one of them is going to win a championship, and it's going to boil down to Punk versus Drew for a title. But
Hope
it
not.
doesn't have to.
That's
It
what I
doesn't
mean.
have to at this point.
They don't need a title to make
No,
this
not at all.
rivalry. This rivalry is just absolute fire without a title
Yeah,
right now. This is
absolutely.
this is just the hottest shit right now. These two, and
Yeah,
they've not even faced off. That's
that's
what
the
makes it
thing.
even better.
That's the
They've
thing.
literally not even faced off
Drew
one on
attacked
one
Punk.
yet.
Punk's attacked Drew. Now Punk's come back and attacked him again after counting to 2.
The fact that Punk's cost him twice is to the same guy as well.
Oh no. I
It's
know.
it's insane, but because even when Drew went backstage and obviously Triple H confronted him,
And he was like, I'm serious,
there
I'm
was
done.
part of it that was like, this is real. Like, this is from the heart.
Yeah.
This isn't.
And this is
He's
what I've
gone off
said to you in
script
the
here.
past. Sometimes the segments are so good that you look at it and go, oh shit, is this is this legit? Is this gonna go?
Well, I mean, when do we see him next? Because do we see him again?
I, I I don't know. I mean, does I mean, he deleted all social media, right? And he
Yeah.
hasn't now. He's brought it back, but at the time that he quit, his whole social media presence on Instagram, TikTok, everywhere was gone,
So yeah,
completely removed.
he went through. Oh, it's just like, do we see him come back and do we see him turn like
I mean,
another?
what's he going to turn to? I mean, because at the moment, Punk is supposed to be a babyface and Drew is supposed to be a heel. But I can't help think Punk is the heel because he's being a cock to Drew.
That's what I mean. He's
But
not.
Punk is
Yeah.
that person again that plays a heel so well you love to hate him. So when he does it, you can't help but want to watch him.
Oh, but then do we need Drew to turn? Because I don't think we do. I think he
I don't think we
fits what he
do.
does right now.
Drew is doing his best work right now, and I think if they change him, that changes the whole outlook that his character has. I think it changes the perception for the crowd. I don't think they need to change him. I think they need to keep him as a heel and an angry man that is going through the biggest torment of his life with the
Having a
thorn in the side.
breakdown.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be like, do you know when like Baron Corbin lost everything and he
Yeah.
was playing the homeless guy and he lost his wife and stuff? That was some of Baron's best work. And I think Drew is the same. I think Drew is feeding off of that and looking to elevate himself on another level. And he's doing it, and he's doing it fucking well.
But also, like I say, I go back to when would we see him again? I do know that obviously his wife had to have emergency surgery, didn't she, over
So
Clash
she's
weekend?
so
So
he's probably taken a week or two off to stay at home with
a bit
her,
of
I'd
time off,
imagine. Yeah.
just
And I'd imagine that
which
it'll come
like
back that.
family over everything. So
Yeah,
he's got every
absolutely. I
right
mean,
to.
look at Bronson Reed. He straight away was like, my daughter's going to be born, or my kid's going to be born in the next couple of days. I'm not coming in. That's how it should be. You should turn around and say, look, you got to be comfortable enough with your employer to say, I need time off, and I'm
Yeah.
taking it.
So he's yeah. It's just such a great.
It's going to be interesting when he comes back from whatever he's doing. Whenever he comes back, he will be back. Let's face it, we saw on TikTok, we saw it all over social media. The Rock had a sword delivered to him at a restaurant. The first ever time anything's been done like that for him to sign a brand new contract.
Mm,
He's only signed that a few months ago. There's no way he's not coming back. This is all a work. And, I mean, we've seen everybody quit. Look at Jey Uso. I quit. 2 weeks later, he ended up on Raw.
So when you say that, could this be a he gets shoved over? Because obviously Punk's for some reason declared that he's going to be at SmackDown on Friday.
I think Punk's
To
declared that. So he was told that he should be avoiding Raw. He said that I've been told that I should avoid Raw. Now, was he told to avoid Raw because of what happened with? Because he did say that he felt a niggle in his arm in the post, in the press conference. So was he told that he needed to avoid it because he needs to go and be looked at, or was he avoiding it because he doesn't want to catch a murderer? He doesn't want to be murdered by McIntyre.
is this one of these trades we see that all of a sudden Punk and Drew have been drafted over to SmackDown,
So who ends up on Raw
and
then?
then and then a little bit down the lot further, few down the line, Drew obviously targets Cody.
I mean, maybe he's, but then again, he's got to have it in the back of his mind that he's lost a Priest twice. He hasn't beaten him fairly because CM Punk's been involved both times. So
I
in
don't
Drew's
think he ever
mind,
gets his hands back on Priest again. I think Priest loses that before Drew comes back for the
I think,
title.
yeah, maybe. I mean, if they're doing Money in the Bank and we're 3 weeks away, Priest has had the championship come 3 weeks' time. He would have had the championship for near on four
Because
months.
so Priest is he's got to face Seth at Money in the Bank.
Yeah,
Obviously, we don't know how that's going to go. But then after that, the winner has then got to face Gunther at SummerSlam. So that's two PLEs
but then what happens in
gone.
between? Because you've also got Bash at Berlin.
Uh,
I mean, not a massive pay per view. I understand it. Again, it's a smaller one that's going to happen. I would see because of his
is it though?
pulling power around the world.
Is that a Raw one?
Well, I
Is
don't
that a
know.
Raw
I don't
PLE?
know.
Because
I'm
this
not sure,
was.
but I mean,
No, this was supposed. I think they're mixing them again.
I think they're mixing
Actually,
again because you've got Cody and AJ.
you had Intercontinental,
Bailey was
which was
there.
Raw,
Yeah, Bailey was there, which
and
is
obviously the
SmackDown.
Raw, like the the heavyweight tag team title.
Is Raw.
Yeah, actually thinking of that, they got to mix them again. There's no
I
point
think
having
so. I
one
think
for each show. There's
no.
not.
I don't think there is. I really don't think there is. I don't think it makes much sense when you've got a tag division that is so lackluster and not being pushed at the moment, and then you've got seldom number of challengers for Cody right now and Bailey other than Nia Jax.
Yeah, because that's at Summer.
It
That'd be at
just doesn't.
SummerSlam, wouldn't it? So you've got two
Well, but
guaranteed matches.
that's gonna be at SummerSlam. So you got Gunther for the heavyweight championship and Nia for the the WWE Women's Championship, guaranteed at SummerSlam. That will go ahead regardless. So we know Gunther and Nia are going to be there. It's just a case of who they're facing. Is it going to be Seth? Possibly. Bailey hasn't got anyone else now. She's defeated
Do you think
Piper.
Seth wins it though, coming back?
I, I don't think
Because
he should.
it's not. It's only 3 week build up, and he's not wrestled.
No, he hasn't. But it's not been long that he hasn't wrestled for. But he looked in pretty bad shape at the end of WrestleMania. And even The Rock said, that the MVP of WrestleMania was Seth Rollins.
So
But
do you think he
I
gets
think Priest
screwed
beats
out of
him.
winning? He gets screwed out of
I d
winning though.
Oh, fuck, maybe McIntyre has something to do with it. You got to think about it. McIntyre's going to be angry because he's lost a Priest twice, but he's
Yeah,
had no control over the outcome. And now all of a sudden, Seth comes back. The man that he did beat gets a championship without having to do anything. He gets an
Seth's on
opportunity
top.
to.
Seth looks like he's going to win. Priest is not having it because he wants to be the one to dethrone Priest. So he comes
Mm.
out and just fucks
That's what I
shit
mean.
up.
He's going to be angry and jealous that Seth's got this shot
This is
without
his.
doing anything.
This is him coming back. So we won't
Yeah,
see him until that moment, and he just sort of causes chaos and disappears again.
yeah.
And then obviously, then maybe Punk calls him a little bitch or something, and we don't
Coward.
just
Yeah.
like you're
I
trying
mean,
to be.
it
You're
could.
so obsessed with me. You're trying to be me, etc.
I mean, he's obsessed with Punk. Let's face it.
Yeah, it's because yeah, I think it's too early for. It don't make sense for Seth to come back and within 3 weeks win a title. Yeah, he
No.
can have that. He can have his match, and he can put on a spectacle, get screwed over. So and then all of a sudden there's a bit of there's anger in him. There's a rivalry to build there then between Seth and Priest as well.
I
Let it
think
build up a bit more.
it's going to go one of two ways. These are pretty outlandish. This is very speculative. This is just what I would like to see. One of two options. I think Drew potentially comes back and screws it over for Seth out of jealousy. Like you said, he wants to be the one to dethrone Damien. Doesn't think that Seth deserves it, having time off and then coming back, and all of a sudden he's back in that match after he lost to Drew. And Priest hasn't beaten Drew one-on-one fairly at all.
Mm.
Or Jey Uso wins Money in the Bank and he intervenes somehow and takes it from Priest.
On the night.
On the night, yeah. I think so. Jey
Oh,
Uso is
that'd
at
be
that point.
interesting.
Jey Uso is you've got to bear in mind, so they get a year to cash in. And they're
Mm.
told when they can cash in. Obviously, they're told, we're going to tell you when you cash in. I reckon they do it on the night because Jey Uso is so over, and he keeps losing. We've discussed this. He's not main event Uso. He's main event in the sense he's in the main events, but he's not main event unless he's winning main events. What way to push him
Then
than
to
do it
win it,
on the same night? And it's been done before.
win the
It has been done
briefcase.
on the night before. You win the briefcase, you go out and you cash it in. And I think that if Drew doesn't get involved, I think that Jey wins the Money in the Bank and on the night somehow
Or
gets involved with Seth and Priest.
Drew gets involved. Drew's demolished Priest,
And then Jey
and then
comes
as
out
he's walking
afterwards.
away,
Jey walks
Jay
down.
comes sprinting
Oh my god!
because at the same time Drew's annoyed at Jay for taking his spot
But
to
Jey,
obviously
he
main
also,
event.
yeah. And now Jey's taking his spot as the world heavyweight champion. Oh, could you imagine? How much can you screw Drew?
That's why I said earlier
Uh,
he's got Bret Hart vibes about him, where he's
yeah.
constantly getting screwed over for everything that he deserves. He's getting so close,
Okay.
but yet
So here's
someone
what
is
I'm
going to
proposing.
screw him.
I'm going to propose that as of next week, we design, one of us designs a counter to add to the screen, and we start it next week, and we call it the Screw Drew counter, and it goes up every time Drew gets screwed by somebody or something. And we see by the end of the year how many times Drew has been screwed.
Jesus, we're gonna have to roll back some tapes to.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh no, we'll start it from next week. We'll just start it from next week. It'll be fresh from next week.
Or we'll just have a scoreboard up there. CM Punk one side, Drew the other. He's already 2-0 up, isn't he?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's interesting as well because we still don't know when Punk is coming back.
No, and
But if Priest
um,
is champion and set to fight Gunther at SummerSlam, do they end this rivalry in one hell of a match at SummerSlam? Is Punk going to be fit for SummerSlam?
that's what we'll find out Friday night, I suppose,
Because
depending
obviously
on.
that's one of the big four, and it's the next one in the big four.
And
So
they
I
built
think
it
it would
up.
be perfectly suited. Yeah.
It's been built up enough, since Royal Rumble. So
Yeah. Exactly.
it's not like it's been there sitting there for just a month.
No.
It's been sitting there for half a year now,
Yeah. Absolutely.
brewing
That's
this
it.
one.
So
So
I
to
reckon
lead into
SummerSlam,
SummerSlam,
if Punk's fit enough, I think that's when they go, okay, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre in, I don't know, whatever kind of match you want to put it in, fucking bull rope match,
yeah.
blind
What
match.
do you reckon they'd add a stipulation to it, or do you reckon it would just be a one-on-one contest?
I mean, I think you could have it as a one-on-one anyway, but I think honestly it should be, for me, a Falls Count anyway. Because that fight could go anywhere, and I think it's going to end up. It gives them the potential for them to end backstage in the crowd,
Yeah,
around.
that's
I
a good
think a Falls
shout.
Count anywhere would be perfect.
Yeah, with how much hate there is there,
Yeah,
they won't want to.
So
No
a
one will
Falls
want to win
count
by
or a
count out.
no hold bars, a no holds barred, I think would be a good shout.
Yeah, that is a good shout. It's yeah, 1-on-1. Obviously, it would be a great 1-on-1 regardless. But
Yeah,
yeah, where there's so much hate between them, they'll just want to fight each other wherever, and they won't want it to end
yeah,
in a count out. It wouldn't
exactly. You
make
don't want it
sense
in a
for it to
count
end
out.
that
You
way.
don't want to have to go back to the ring. If you go too far away, you don't want to have to drag them back to the ring just to get that pinfall. So a Falls count anywhere is an ideal stipulation. And I can see one of them ended up in the car park and one of them going through a windscreen.
Or yeah, Drew putting Punk through that windscreen of that stupid little convertible
Yeah.
he's got.
Oh, but the
Ditching
other
him
thing I want
there.
to talk, yeah, I mean it's there's so much potential there. You've got two guys that are just renowned in the business for being two of the very best. Punk has always done great work on the mic. Drew is doing his best work, and I think the two of them together now is the best time to do it. And
Yeah.
I think it's going to be one, and I think that's going to be the highlight. I think you'll have title matches at SummerSlam, obviously, but I think one match that most people are going to look forward to are going to be McIntyre and Punk if it's on the card. But whatever event that gets put on, I'm pretty sure that that's going to be the highlight of the night.
Yeah. And that's great because it shows that you
Yeah,
do not need a title to have a 5-star
exactly,
match show up.
exactly that,
Or a
absolutely, and
potential 5-star match show
yeah,
up, sorry.
that's exactly right. I do. I want to touch on NXT as well because obviously NXT's been getting more exciting, and now we have this door open, forbidden door, NXT, and hey, and we finally got some men involved. So we had Jordan Grace come in at the Royal Rumble. We had Mickey James in the Royal Rumble. Jordan Grace go against Roxanne Perez and have a match on NXT as well. And then we got, I believe, Joe Henry, but gets eliminated first in the 25-man over the top rope battle royal. I mean, he did
Oh,
mouth off and said,
well,
"Let's face it,
that's his
it is
classic intro, though, isn't it?
it is NXT versus Joe Henry. It's 24 chumps versus a man, and this man is on another level. So we all knew that was going to happen. I'm so glad that we saw him. Um, Jordan Grace, did you see the tweet? I don't know if it was a tweet or an Instagram. Dudes took a photo of himself in front of loads of palm trees, and Jordan Grace commented saying, "Can't even keep your WWE debut quiet. You go to Orlando, and the first thing you do is take a photo of the fucking palm trees."
Like, brilliant, honestly. Like,
I know.
I'm glad he got that break as well
Yeah,
of obviously getting onto that show, but and also obviously backstage as well when he stormed off, he confronted Shawn Michaels
yeah,
and he was like, "Was this your plan all along? 24 men against me to eliminate me?" And then he said it was something along the lines of, "The door is open, I will be back." And then you just get
yeah.
Shawn Michaels going, but as he walked off, "I believe." And then it just cut off.
It's brilliant. One thing that shocked me about that match, I didn't see. Obviously, Ethan Page is tied up in a rivalry, and he came down straight after Joe Henry. He's face to face with Henry. He gets jumped. He didn't get eliminated, but he never came back either.
No,
But he
because
never got
obviously you
eliminated
had
because he went
Javon
through the middle ropes.
Evans won it,
Yeah,
but and then at the end of the night you had Javon Evans take on Ethan Page,
yeah,
and then Ethan Page beat Evans, so it sort of he keeps his hat in that ring for
yeah.
the NXT
Yeah, I see what you mean.
title.
I honestly
I
thought
was
Sean Spears was going to win it because obviously he got pushed out. They kind of forgot about him. He came in last minute, eliminated Dragon Lee, and then him and Siobhan Evans. I mean, I think there's a good spot between them, the reversals and the counters and stuff, and they worked well together for that short period of time they had. The one person that I was really happy to see, I didn't think he got a big enough pop, was Frankie Kazarian from TNA. Obviously, I mean, he's a legend in TNA. He's been great in the Ring of Honor in the past. He's older now, but still a fantastic talent, and he got in the final four obviously in the 25-man over the top rope. And I think it was great to see him. That one surprised me because obviously the hearsay we had was Hardy, Joe
yeah,
Hendry. So Kazarian, the fact that Hardy didn't show up, Kazarian was a great replacement, if you like, if that's what it was. If he was a secondary choice to Matt, why not? A great choice to put in.
So I love that this open door is there, but they're not
Yeah,
overusing it. They're doing it for the right spots. Like they didn't bring too
they're
many of
doing
the
it in
superstars
stages and they're
over
doing it
from
well.
TNA.
Yeah.
Like they could have
Yeah, because they
easily
could
have.
have absolutely annihilated that and said, okay, we're going to do half roster of WWE, half roster of TNA for this 25-man. We'll do 12 and 12. We'll do 13 from WWE because it's our brand, and we'll do
Mm.
12. They could have easily done that. So the fact that they are, like you say, they're filtering little bits through at a time to show us their cooking is fantastic because it opens your mind to what could be.
Yeah, it's definitely down the line. Like you could have your crossover PLEs
Yeah,
again. Obviously, where you had Jordan Grace come over from the for Battleground. So,
I want to see someone go to TNA and challenge for their championship next. Maybe
well, you did.
Roxanne Perez goes over there and goes, right, I beat you last time. Now you're challenging. Now I'm challenging you for your
Who
title.
you did have someone go over and take on Jordan Grace for the chef.
Was it Me Chim?
Yeah,
Yeah, I knew that she was due to go over there. I missed the match, but I knew
yeah.
she was due to go over there.
She went over and took on Jordan Grace
Jordan
in her
Grace.
Open Championship.
Right. Okay.
So it's there in that sense of they're
Yeah.
doing it both ways now.
And I like that. I mean, like I said, I was the first person to own up to it, and I said it to you straight away. I'm not sure it's the right idea, but actually, the way they're playing it is really good. And
That's what
like
I
I said
said to you,
last
didn't
week,
I? I went
yeah, yeah.
that it will work if they do it slowly
If they do
and
it slowly, yeah,
they push through the right players
yeah,
in that sense,
absolutely.
rather than a complete overhaul and then they all of a sudden NXT becomes unrecognizable and so does TNA.
Yeah, one thing I found really interesting for what Johnny Hendry said to Shawn Michaels is I can show up on any show. That straight away, I was like, oh shit, are we going now a step beyond NXT? Are we looking at SmackDown and Raw, perhaps? Is this man looking to go a bit more
One
main
better.
stage? Yeah.
SmackDown would be the next step for him.
SmackDown would be great for Joe Henry, I think. Yeah. I
Oh,
think
could
that'd
you
be
imagine?
fantastic. He'd get so. Could you imagine the pop?
You've got like
You just hear say his name and he will
Cody
come.
Rhodes is banging out a promo and then all of a sudden
Yeah.
he just says doesn't intentionally say it. Well, yeah, it doesn't intentionally say it, but he says, but if you say his name, meaning someone else, and then all of a sudden Joe Hendry's music just drops.
Oh, that'd be great, wouldn't it? Kevin Owens is the best one for that because Kevin Owens had that segment with Sammy a while back. And obviously the Imperium. He's like, no, it doesn't mean when we say your name, you have to come out. He's like, it's not how it works. And he got so frustrated all the time. I love Kevin when he's angry. He's so funny when he's angry. But yeah, I was really impressed with NXT this week. I think NXT was fantastic. I'm loving the tag division. Love Chase University. I think they're great. They're growing on me. The 25-man over the top rope. I love that Wesley has got another title shot for the North American. I think that's going to be a good match. I mean, he's got such a big man to go against, though. Is that
Overfemi,
man going to
yeah.
be taken down? Obafemi is huge. I'd love to see him on the main roster to see what he can do with other stars as well.
Oh, definitely. He's be interesting because obviously Trick's got his next opponent and he's got a rivalry brewing with Ethan Page at the same time.
Yeah.
So
He's already beaten Ethan Page once, hasn't he? Because obviously Ethan Page's
Obafemi's
debut match.
Obafemi's on course to be a
Yeah,
big champion, but do they sort of have him drop this belt and then push him onto the roster, like push him up to SmackDown and skip
maybe.
the NXT
They
title?
might do. They might do, but then I don't know. Because then do they do what they did in the females division where they said, well, I'm going to go back? Because obviously Becky went back to win the NXT championship.
Finn
And
went
then
back.
Finn went back. And then who was it? Someone else went back to win because Roman never won it. Someone else went back to win it because Roman never won it. They said, oh, I'm going to go win it because it's something Roman didn't do. Oh no, sorry, no, don't ignore me. I'm getting caught up now in the storyline on 2K24.
Oh my god!
I know, how crazy is that? That's mental. But yeah, no, I think it'd be better for him to win the NXT title and go up as they normally would. But I can also see why they'd have him bypass it and go up to the main roster. I think either way, I wouldn't be angry with it.
No, not at all. But again,
No,
it's like you've got to push him right, but then
yeah.
the US title might be there for more challenges depending on LA Knight beating Logan Paul.
I mean, has that been fixed yet? When is that happening? Is that going ahead at Money in the Bank
SummerSlam,
or
SummerSlam
it's SummerSlam?
supposedly.
So that's too far away for me. I think Money in the Bank would be ideal for them to do it there.
Yeah, I
It's
think
3 weeks away. We know
from what
Logan's going to
I've
be
what I've
taking time
heard,
away. But then again, I'm entertained by LA Knight. I love LA Knight. I love the fact that he's trolling Logan. I
breaking
like
into
the way that
more
he said,
houses.
yeah, breaking it. Wait, I didn't break in. He got let in, didn't he? Security let him in.
True,
And
well,
I love the fact that he's in his pool and he's like, look, dude, if you'd come here sooner, we could have one hell of a time. And I appreciate that Aladdin comment. And I'm going to show you the world. Just come to Chicago next week. I love the fact that he said that. I love the fact that he went and what he said about Aladdin. I appreciate that because I'm going to show you the world.
yeah, that's LA Knight at his finest, though.
Yeah,
That
it is. And you could tell that he was enjoying that segment. And I think the same as when he did the segment going to AJ's house. I think he had fun doing that.
yeah, massively. I mean, not a bad little promo to have in Logan's Pool, though, is it?
Yeah, no, we're going to fly you to Logan's house in Puerto Rico, and you're going to do a small segment over there.
In a little rubber
It's
ring
not a
as
bad
well.
life. Yeah, it's not a bad
Bring
life
your
at all,
swim
is it?
shorts.
Yeah, that's it. Just need some swim shorts and over
You're
and
going
whatever
for a
clothes
dip.
you want to wear. Yeah, it was great. I love it. I just thought it was brilliant. I just, yeah, I've been entertained by the promos recently. I think Priest is getting better. That's what I was going to say earlier. I think Priest is starting to get a bit better on the mic. He's still not.
Yeah,
He's got the voice for it. He's got that really deep, husky, manly voice. He's quite monotone when he's talking about
yeah.
something. He doesn't change up and
Emotionless.
down.
Nah.
Yeah, exactly. He's kind of learning that when to rage, when to seem a bit pissed off, when to seem sad, when to seem happy, laughing, joking. It's all a bit the same on the same level every time.
Yeah. I know what you mean. He can't. Yeah, he can't change his emotions to fit the
Yeah,
tone
he
of
just
what he
needs
needs
to.
to say.
Yeah, he just needs to work out how to deliver it. But what he's saying is good. The content of the promo is good. Whoever's writing it, whether it's him or creative, I don't know, but the promos are good in that sense. It's just the deliverance of it. It's that delivery he's just missing out on. I think he needs to work on that a little bit more, and I think then he's gonna be huge if he does that. He's got that
Yeah,
potential there to be massive, and we all know that you could be an amazing wrestler. You could be a 5-star wrestler and have more 5-star matches in the world than anybody else. If you can't deliver a promo, you're only doing half the job.
it's what your career banks on personally. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly
if you've
that.
got to
And
be,
look at
if you're going to be one of the top guys, you've got to be able to throw yourself around that in every different
yeah,
shape and form that it needs you to be.
exactly.
Like,
And that's what happened with Roman. He did that. At first he was exactly the same. His promos were very lackluster, but then
mm,
you get people that are on the mic that are a natural from the get go. That you
yeah,
just
some are
know
just
that they
born
haven't
with
had to
it.
work at it too much. I mean, look at John Cena. He's one of the best on the microphone there is. Same with The Rock. And then you got people like
Even Stone Cold was great on the
yeah.
mic.
That's what I was about to say. Stone Cold. You mean his most famous speech when he won King of the Ring, and he said that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said though, 316 Stone Cold just kicked your ass. That's where it all started from that one promo, that whole 316 segment. And yeah,
And
I mean,
especially for someone like Stone Cold, like you think he's all about in ring and it's all about his him as him rather than saying any words. But
yeah,
give him that mic and he will literally, yeah, he'll destroy you.
oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, he just and still the what chant. It just used
Yeah.
to frustrate people so much, and you could see people were getting frustrated with it, and they're trying not to break character, but you could see they were either laughing because they're breaking, or they're breaking and laughing because they're just so frustrated and they don't know whether to laugh or cry. And I love that. I love the fact that you could do that to somebody. I think that's great.
It's, yeah, because you obviously you both got to spit bars on the mic,
Yeah,
as you'd say. And yeah, especially if you're coming up, especially for Priest coming up against Seth Rollins on the mic, you've got
he's
to
one
be
of the very
able,
best right now.
you've got to be able to give it back in the right
Yeah,
way.
and that's what I mean.
And
Like I say, the content of his promos are fantastic. The content of what he's saying is great. It's just the delivery is needs fine tuning.
and then I think that's more. He's not really been in that limelight
No, it's time.
before being world champion. So now,
Yeah,
obviously,
absolutely.
now he's sort of been pushed into it.
You look at his career from being pushed up from NXT. He was United States champion pretty quickly. Then he wasn't. Then he was United States champion again, and he didn't really do much talking on the mic. Then he had fights with like Bad Bunny and stuff like that. And you do realise that he's not been on the main roster all that long, actually. And yeah, and then like you say,
No, he
he's
was
now world
always
champion.
a backing dancer, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He was. That's exactly right. But I mean, his ability wrestling wise, I think he's great. It's just, and like I say, content wise, the
He's a
promos are great. I
presence, yeah.
mean,
He's a
yeah,
presence in the ring.
it's he is definitely. And like when he hit that promo against Drew, and he said, "Look, you know, when are you going to stop blaming yourself and look in the mirror and blame that arsehole?" I'm like, damn, that's great. I love that promo. Just it's just the delivery.
Yeah. It'll come. It'll come, definitely.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've got no doubt it will. And I think, like I say, he's getting better each week that I hear him. I'm like, okay, there's a little bit more of the priest coming out. There's a little bit more of the, you know, the emotion and the tenacity and the passion that we want to see.
Yeah.
What's your what's your take on SmackDown this week? Obviously, we don't really know what's going to happen. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with RKO, Cody Rhodes, and the Bloodline after following Clash at the Castle. It's going to be interesting to see what Solo has to say and what Heyman has to say. And it's
Yeah,
going.
that's.
I'm really interested
I
to see
think.
where Bailey's going to go as well.
I think Heyman tries will try to have a little quiet word with Solo about his actions,
Mm,
and then obviously Tama Tonga's just going to be there right behind him,
yeah,
and sort of Heyman's going to be backed into a corner again because that's not how the Bloodline should be acting by doing it. That obviously what they done.
no,
So I could. It's going to sound really, really controversial, but I could see a little ultimatum from Heyman. Either you listen to me or I'm gone.
yeah. I wouldn't put it past him actually. It wouldn't surprise me. But then where does he go from there? Because obviously Roman's out. Do we not see him until Roman comes back? Is it a case of when Roman comes back, he's got Heyman at his side, and it's to
It's,
make a point that you don't treat the wise man like that?
you didn't want me, but I'm back, and look who I brought with me.
Yeah. Is it
Like
that he
that would
comes
be
back? Yeah.
massive. You see Heyman appear again, all on his own, and everyone thinking, "Why are
And
you
then
here?"
he's
Like
up the ramp and he just and then the music just hits.
it
That would
doesn't
be, and
even.
he's done it before. He's done it with Brock. He's done it with Punk when Punk was a Heyman guy. Because obviously Punk dropped that reference to Roman as well. He said, "Remember who the original Heyman guy is."
So be a nice
It'd
little
be interesting.
twist in the story
I
because
think
it would make I think it would make this bloodline a bit more relevant if Heyman does throw that ultimatum and
if he
potentially
gives,
walk away.
if I think so, because then they're just going to cause more carnage. because Heyman is that voice of reason, and although he's there, they're not really listening to him. He's still there. He's still throwing in that voice. So if he leaves and that voice of reason is gone entirely,
Mm.
then you just have an unhinged bloodline, and you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. And then obviously, I'm guessing we're going to have a couple of Money in the Bank matches,
Yeah,
qualifiers.
it's gonna be interesting because it's gonna be interesting to see who Mello's paired up with and who else gets put in those matches. Because obviously, we touched on this the other week. The SmackDown roster in that kind of tier system is not as well packed out as Raw, so it's hard to see who's going to end up in those matches
I'll probably
against.
see Santos Escobar,
But
Lashley.
they're on Raw.
Are they?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, I mean, I don't know, are they?
I thought they were
Yeah,
on
Santos
SmackDown.
Escobar was on. Oh no, yeah, no, you're right. My apologies. No, you are right. Sorry, yeah, yeah. So yeah, Santos Escobar, he'll be on there. I don't know if he'll get through. He was in
Lashley
last year.
is an easy one to put into the qualifiers.
Yeah, true.
Did we see
Karrion
Karrion Cross?
Cross. You read my mind there, mate. I'd
Although
like to see him.
although he did just call out Xavier Kofi Kingston.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because obviously he's got this whole plot that Xavier can do better without Kofi. Um, yeah, that's true.
So
And I don't think Kofi will go in it. He's been in it multiple times. And he's good. Yeah, and I like that they're doing something with Carrion now.
I hope
I
so.
like
I
that
hope.
they're actually. He's just wasted otherwise. We've touched on it a few
Mm,
times. He's just wasted.
but he'd
But
be good
yeah,
in the Money in the Bank.
yeah, he would
Be
be.
a good
Yeah,
one to throw in there. Apollo Crews possibly.
yeah, possibly. But then again, he's just. I mean, he had that controversial loss. Electra got involved, and Santos Escobar with that dodgy roll up. But yeah, maybe they put Santos Escobar against Apollo Crews as a qualifier. But
Yeah, that yeah.
Phantasma banned from ringside. Maybe I don't know.
Yes, Angelo Dawkins maybe.
That'd be a good one. I mean, obviously we've had Montel Williams. What is it? It's not even Montez
Montez
Ford. What
Ford.
am I talking about? Montel Williams. Oh my god. Montez Ford obviously was in it previously. It would be good to see Angelo Dawkins get a bit of a singles push.
Yeah. Oh, interested. I suppose we'll get. They normally put out the matches like might even put them out later tonight.
They might do. You might see like little snippets on Instagram and stuff of who's coming up. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I'm just
I know
having a look
exactly what you
now,
mean.
but I can't see any SmackDown preview yet.
No,
No.
it'll be interesting to see, and I'm interested to see what happens with Bailey now because obviously she's beaten Piper. So
Yeah, where does she go?
she's
Just
got
do
Nia
a
she's got Nia at the SummerSlam, but what up until then? We're 3 weeks out from Money in the Bank. Then you got Bash in Berlin, and then
Jade and
what?
Bianca
SummerSlam
obviously
isn't.
losing the titles, throw the hats in the
Yeah,
ring
well,
because
that's
they
the
are
point.
both on SmackDown.
That's the point. So they are, but now they're separate, but not separate. But now they've lost the tag team titles, so they get put in Money in the Bank qualifier matches.
Oh yeah, good shout. Oh, I forgot about the women's one.
Yeah, because obviously you've got the women's Money in the Bank too. So and it's gonna be interesting. Io Sky is obviously qualified. Good, great choice. She's the current Miss Money in the Bank because she won it
Lyra,
last year.
I reckon will
Lyra
be
Valkyrie, I want to go. I want to see
qualify.
her go through. Yeah, I want to see her qualify. I think on SmackDown, if Jade is put in separate to Bianca, it's a tough call. I think she'll qualify. I think Bianca will probably qualify, and then you'll have Io
Yeah,
Sky and Lyra
Tiff,
Valkyrie.
Tiff qualify. Naomi
Yeah,
got
yeah, good
two,
choices. Both choices. Both good choices. I'd
but
say
then
Tiff over Naomi.
with Tiff, she's had that weird promo a few weeks ago where she wanted to be Princess of the Ring, didn't
Oh,
she? To Nia's
yeah.
queen. So that's a bit. That was a bit. Don't know
Ooh.
where what that angle was all about.
Yeah, where the hell is that going to go? That's strange. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I'm more excited for next week on Raw.
Oh,
I
you've also
really
got
want to see what happens on Raw.
what's her name debuting? I think this Friday on SmackDown, Davenport.
Oh,
Or
Blair Davenport.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
pretty
okay.
sure she's debuting this Friday.
So
So that's
she'll put another name in the table. Then maybe they'll push her for
they
a
push her
Money in
like
the
they did
Bank. Who
Paige.
knows?
I know that Paige
Don't
obviously
know.
instantly come into Raw and won the title, but still.
Yeah, she won the title on her debut. Yeah. Um.
Oh,
I
could you
don't.
imagine they do that just so they get rid of Paige's record?
I don't think they've
And
got any reason to at the moment. I don't think there's much bad blood there. I know she never came back or anything, but again, that was because she was injured. She was doing stuff as as GM and doing stuff backstage, and then she left because she was signed off. And I think it was a bit like Daniel Bryan. I think she was signed off by a doctor, but the WWE wanted her to be signed off by their doctors or something like that. So she ended up going to AEW. But I tell you what, I'm glad she's not a WWE, because she's just so out of touch. And you
mm,
watch the women over there. I don't know how much AEW you watch, but you watch the women over there, and not just the women, but the men, and it's just like how are they still in business? How are they? You know, they're putting a little over 500k viewers a week. Um, NXT hit over 700,000 most times in a week, and that's WWE's weakest brand.
it's
That's their
interesting.
developmental brand. So and then you look at SmackDown and Raw that regularly hit over 1 million viewers each week. It really makes you wonder how. And I know it's a money pit. They've got to be hemorrhaging money, but Tony Khan just doesn't give a shit.
Bankrolled by Jaguar, isn't he? So don't matter.
No, well that's it. But then again, if you had any common sense, no matter how much you love a bit, no matter how much you love an industry, at some point you got to go. We're losing far too much money, and it needs to stop.
Yeah. So but yeah, I'd be interesting. But yeah, Raw obviously will be super interesting given what's
I
just
want
happened
to.
this week.
I think
How do
next
you
week on
top that?
Raw. I think next week on Raw we're going to see Ludwig versus Breaker.
Or could you see a triple threat?
Maybe.
Sheamus.
That's another way. If they don't do a fatal four way, Sheamus, Braun, and Ludwig, number one contender.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Oh,
that's another way they could do it. Is those three as number one contenders, because obviously Ludwig's been attacking Sheamus. Braun came out and said to Sheamus that you're past it. The IC Championship is one that you've not won. You're not going to win it. While I'm here, I'm going straight through everybody. And then Braun has attacked Ludwig inadvertently after Ludwig attacked Sheamus during their match. So it could go for a number one contender spot to set up for Money in the Bank. But then again, Sammy has only just
ending
defended.
ending a no contest, and then boom,
Yeah,
all four of
fatal
them
four way.
go toe to
Adam
toe.
Pearce comes out.
Bash would be more likely
Bash
actually
Berlin
saying
would be
it
great. Yeah,
because of obviously
because
Ludwig.
Ludwig. Yeah, that would make
So
more sense. And Sammy has only just defended a Clash, so
yeah,
only 3 weeks apart. Your best bet is now. I mean, I would say if you're going to have a title defended mid card kind of range title, then obviously US Championship. But if they're doing it at SummerSlam, they're obviously not going to do that at Money in the Bank. So I reckon they should have the Tag Team Championship at Money in the Bank, DIY against Theory and Waller.
yeah,
Would be a good match to have, because it's at a PLE. Okay, it's not a major PLE, but it's highlighting a tag team championship, which deserves to be. Um, and then I think Liv Morgan against somebody, because Bailey's just defended. But again,
yeah. She's got
who's
to
Liv
have a
Morgan got?
challenger.
She hasn't
She's got
got
to
a
be.
challenger unless Becky comes back. Is Becky then going to come back now? Seth's back. Is Becky going to go? Oh fuck! Well, I'm back then.
Yeah, but that's well, we'll find out. There's got to be something. Or Zelina, I think Zelina Vega's probably the next one at
Yeah,
this moment.
maybe, but
The
I
one
don't see her
that's
winning. But
no, but again, it's another
yeah,
challenger
yeah, it is another
for a
challenger. It's
title
true.
you've got to defend.
It's it's hard, isn't it? Because at this point, you're looking at it, it's almost you're looking for just bums to fill seats, which is not a good position to be in.
No, because you're so fixated around these faction storylines that you're sort of forgetting what the main purpose of
Or,
wrestling is, don't you? Really,
yeah,
sometimes.
I mean, I can see. I mean, Liv's got to defend either at Bash or Money in the Bank, surely, or at least have a match, because
Yeah,
you
well,
can't go
she,
all this time not defending. I know she's defended it in dark matches away from TV, but
yeah, but that's not the same, is it?
it's not the same. And she defended against Becky after winning it in that steel cage match, and we all saw what happened there. Um, and then Becky's obviously taken time off, but I've not seen her defend it on a title on TV since. And like I said, she's got no set storyline away from Judgment Day and Dom. So she has no. We know the end goal is Rhea Ripley, but what's in the interim? What happens on the interim? Who's going to step up and go? Okay, well, I want the championship. Is it going to be Lyra Valkyria? Is it going to be Io Sky? She's had the WWE title. She now wants Money in the Bank.
You've
I
still
mean, you
got
just
others
don't
there. You've
know.
still got
Yeah,
obviously like
exactly. There's
Dakota
still others.
Kai, you got Asuka,
Asuka would
like
be a great one. Asuka would be a great one, but again, we've not seen her for a while. Dakota Kai, she's got that knee brace on again. Is she injured again? I don't know.
that's what you've got.
Because you've seen
You've got some of them there to
Io
step
Sky would
up.
be. Io Sky has already obviously been in the world title picture. I think Kairi Sane would be a good one. She's I think she's a good in-ring talent.
God, they've got to make it interesting again.
Yeah, they have, because and it's horrible to think that it's like the situation with Roman. We miss Roman. We all miss Rhea too. Rhea makes everything that much better in the women's division. Just that one person. It's amazing how well that one person changes the entire landscape.
Yeah, it's just yeah, because when you're not giving them a storyline or giving them an inkling of a rivalry,
Mm,
you they're then having to force something in there, like you did with Piper
exactly.
to Bailey.
And that was
It
again a novelty
that
match. We're
happened
going to give you a match.
a week
Yeah.
before
Well, I
Clash.
think it was. Yeah. Well, no, it's a little bit longer than that, wasn't it? I look back at it. It was a little bit longer because Piper actually attacked Bailey at King and Queen of the Ring when they were in Saudi Arabia. She actually attacked her at the end of her match when she
Oh yeah,
defended
of
there.
course
She
she did.
beat her there, so she set the seed there. But again, Piper hasn't been in that main event picture. She's had this push because it's been, well, we're going to Glasgow. We need someone from the home crowd. So we're going to give you a title shot. You're not going to win, but we want to please the home crowd. And I get it from a business perspective and from from a customer standpoint, wanting to make your customers happy. But it was a match that nobody wanted to see. Nobody wanted to see that match.
So yeah, and then obviously, do we see the Wyatt Six again, or have they just
Hope
sort of
so.
planted a seed and
Even if we don't see all of them, I'd like to see one or two of them just appear. Even if they just came to the end of the ramp during a match, just to focus on one person and
little
highlight who they're looking
snippets
at
or
next. Yeah,
something?
just
Just
something, just to plant that seed and keep that seed fresh and growing ever so slowly, and just like stand there. Like if you saw Nikki Cross come out, obviously as the witch, and just staring at a women's match from the corner, just watching, and you're not really sure who she's watching, but she's watching someone in that match. That would be great. Something like that, I think, would be fantastic.
as long as they always keep the move
Yeah,
of the Wyatt Six quiet, and
yeah,
we don't see anything in previews that is going to happen or they're going to be here.
yeah.
Just keep them
If
off
they can
of
keep it on the download, yeah.
anything, and
If they can keep it, and
we're led
they
to
manage,
surprise week in week out
yeah.
because we're
And we know
eagerly
they can do it.
anticipating it now.
Yeah, we know they can do it because they did it with the Hardys at WrestleMania. Nobody had a clue that Seth was coming back this week. So we know it can be done. So yeah, I totally agree. As long as they keep it on the down low, that one or two of them are going to be there, and there's just going to be snippets of them backstage or something. but they keep it fresh and don't drag it out too much, then I think they're just gonna absolutely steamroll it.
Yeah, I'm so excited now that they're here and
Oh,
they've done it that way.
I am.
And
I am, because like I said to you before, I'm getting bored of it. It's dragging on too long. I don't like it. But I even wrote this on TikTok on WWE's channel. It was worth it. It was worth the wait. That few minutes from the door opening to them coming out to the arena was worth it. And like I say, I got chills, and I think Bray would be looking down, going, "Oh my god,
also, did you see
that's my
the
creation."
glove? The glove had Bray
I
written on
didn't
the
notice that.
knuckles.
No, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, watch it back when you see
I
Uncle
will. I
Howdy
will.
on the right hand glove. It says Bray
Yeah.
on the knuckle. It was beautiful.
And I think there's no one better. And I'm so glad that while he was alive, they got Bo as Uncle Howdy, because I don't think anyone would be better, because he has that sibling link. So he's going to put everything into it to make it
Mm.
that much better and that much more special for Bray.
I'm glad. I'm glad they've updated and sort of mastered the attire a bit more for Uncle Howdy
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
that
I think
mask
so.
before was a bit fucking
Yeah.
lackluster.
I
Whereas
think
now,
Bo's quite, he's quite an unusual looking character. I think he's going to play the part very well.
yeah, he looks swole as well, doesn't he? He looks like he's been hitting the gym a
He
bit.
looks hench. Yeah, he looks really, really hench. He looks massive. He's obviously been preparing for it for some time.
Yeah. So
So,
so yeah, I'm
but
definitely excited for the week
I
ahead
think
of
so.
wrestling.
I am as well, definitely. I'm going to try. I think Friday night, I'm going to try and catch SmackDown live. I don't always get to. Sometimes I start to watch it and I'm like 10 minutes in, you got a boring ass promo, and I'm like, oh, I can't keep my eyes open. It's old
Yeah.
age, mate. Old age.
But yeah, it
Honestly, for the first.
didn't help this
Sorry,
week,
go on.
obviously, it being live over here, because it's
Yeah,
as much as we want it over here, it's hard to get the time to watch it live
yeah,
when it's over here because
exactly.
it's too early.
Yeah, because unless you're there, or unless you've got no solid plans, it's like the football tomorrow. What's that about? 5 o'clock? That's when everybody finishes work. Everybody's going to miss it for half an hour because of the rush hour. What are you doing? Crazy. Why would you put it on at 5 o'clock? Mental. On that note, though, I think we should probably wrap it up there, my man. It's
Well,
been a very interesting 4 shows with SmackDown, NXT, Clash, and Raw. And I think if you put them on a rating scale, I think I'm going to put SmackDown at 2.5. I'm going to put NXT at a 3.7, Clash at a 3.5, and I think Raw I'm going to put at 4.6.
yeah, not a bad shout there. I'll probably, yeah, SmackDown's low.
Yeah,
Yeah,
SmackDown
two
was
and a
more the
half
lowest.
fits about right. Clash, I'd probably, yeah, 3.5 to 3.8.
Yeah,
I'd
I think
go.
I
And
think for me
Raw, yeah.
3.8 is pushing it.
Raw, I think you're about right there, 4.7.
Yeah, I think 4.6, 4.7 is a good number for Raw.
Yeah, had a lot of going on, and I think they fit the bill a lot there.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. And like you say, it's going to be interesting now to see how they run with it all and how they pack it all in, and where their focus is going to go going ahead.
Yeah, yeah, Money in the Bank. Let's go, baby.
Oh, let's have the Buzzard in a Money in the Bank qualifying match. Dexter Loomis. That'd be great to see. One of the Wyatt Six being put in towards the Money in the Bank. I mean, probably won't happen, but
Risky,
yeah,
risky.
I know it is risky. It is risky. But on that note, ladies and gents, thank you so much for joining us for another episode. We hope you've enjoyed us rambling for another 2 hours plus.
Yeah,
We
baby.
appreciate it, and we will see you all again very, very soon. Thank you so much. Take care.
Peace out.